become a three-team race for the conference crown. Hi, everybody. Gary Sparber along with Jack Cordy. The Atlantic Conference Football Championship could very well be decided today. Clemson has the inside track because the Tigers control their own destiny. Jack, North Carolina here against Virginia and North Carolina State at home against Duke. They can't be worried about what Clemson's going to do.
Well, obviously, Gary, they're in situations where they still hope that they have a chance to win the ACC, share the ACC title. But right, they have to win their ball games right now and then worry about what happens later. So, big test here at Carolina for the Heels and up the road a piece in Raleigh for the Wolfpack.
And, of course, then the big one with all the controversy and sidebars this afternoon. Clemson and Maryland. These games should be about over by the time that one gets going.
As Clemson takes the field, they're going to have a pretty good idea of whether they need to win that ball game to have a share of it. And for Bobby Ross and Danny Forward, if the weather up there is like it is down here, they're probably glad they're in the press box this afternoon.
It's been wet and rainy here since yesterday. There have been upsets all season long in the ACC, and it was no different last week. Let's take a look at some of the action. Georgia Tech hosted Virginia Military in Atlanta. The Yellow Jackets totally dominated, gaining 483 yards of total offense with no turnovers. Tailback Jerry Maye ran for 2 touchdowns, and junior quarterback Darryl Gasp, making his first start, added 2 touchdown passes, leading Georgia Tech to a 52-6 win over outmanned VMI. Maryland traveled to Penn State to battle the Nittany Lions. Ahead 14-3 midway through the final period, Penn State seemed to have the game in hand, but quarterback Dan Henning led Maryland back, driving the Terps 73 yards in 10 plays. The final one, a scoring pass to Vernon Joins. It looked as if the Nittany Lions had put the contest out of reach when they went up 17-9 on a field goal with 1:04 left. Maryland was far from finished, though. Henning again drove the Terrapins down the field, hitting John Bonanno with a 27-yard touchdown pass with just 14 seconds left. Henning then tried to find James Milling with the tying 2-point conversion, but the attempt was broken up. Maryland lost a tough one to Penn State, 17-15. North Carolina played at Clemson in a key ACC matchup. The contest was supposed to be a nail-biter to the finish, but Clemson dominated. Tailback Terrence Flagler again led the Tigers, rushing for 114 yards and 2 touchdowns. Quarterback Rodney Williams ran the Tiger option superbly, gaining 76 yards rushing with a touchdown and passing for over 100 yards. One bright spot for the Tar Heels was a 43-yard Mark Maye to Eric Streeter touchdown pass. Clemson took over sole possession of first place in the ACC, downing North Carolina 38-10. Another key game took place in Charlottesville as North Carolina State met Virginia. The underdog Cavaliers dominated the line of scrimmage both ways. Freshman fullback Derwin Greggs gained 177 yards on the day to lead Virginia. Kevin Morgan added 104 as the Cavaliers outgained the Wolfpack in total yardage 454 to 258. Still, NC State was in the game until the end. An 88-yard interception return by cornerback Derrick Taylor and 3 Mike Cofer field goals made the score 20-16 with over 5 minutes left. But Virginia safety Mike Pettin ended the last 3 NC State possessions with interceptions, 2 in the Cavalier end zone to preserve Virginia's 20-16 upset win over NC State. Duke hosted Big Four rival Wake Forest in Durham. The two teams put on quite an offensive show, gaining nearly 950 yards between them. The Deacons got a big day from running back Darryl McGill and receiver James Brim. McGill ran for 164 yards and 3 touchdowns. Brim caught 11 passes for 185 yards. But this was a game destined to be won by the team that had possession of the ball last. That team was Duke. Behind quarterback Steve Sladen, the Blue Devils began the final drive from their 18 and moved steadily down the field. Sladen hit tight end Jason Cooper with a key 17-yard 4th down pass to keep the drive alive. That play set up freshman Doug Peterson's game-winning 31-yard field goal with 7 seconds left to give Duke a thrilling 38-36 win over Wake Forest.
We mentioned the Clemson Tigers control their own destiny. With a win this afternoon, they would win the ACC championship. But if they lose to Maryland, NC State and North Carolina still have a chance at the title. Georgia Tech, who is off today, could finish the year with just 2 conference losses. But because they play 1 less conference game, they would not be have a chance for a share of the championship. In action this afternoon, as we've told you, Clemson and Maryland, that'll take place later today. Duke and NC State over at Carter Finley in Raleigh, and Wake Forest will be in Columbia to take on the South Carolina Gamecocks. That should be a high-scoring affair. Georgia Tech has the weekend off. When we come back here to Kenan Stadium, we'll talk with Dick Crum, the head coach of the Carolina Tar Heels, and we'll have more pregame activity. But first, this word from your local ACC station.
Can a floor this beautiful last a lifetime? Tarkett introduces lifetime inlaid flooring. Advanced color crystal technology so durable, its beauty has a lifetime warranty. Tests confirm that the lifetime clarity of pattern and depth of color remain unspoiled long after ordinary inlaid vinyl floors have worn away. Tarkett Lifetime. Now save up to $100 on lifetime inlaid flooring during the sale of a lifetime at these Tarkett
See
dealers.
Tarkett Flooring at Salem M. Way, Charlottesville.
Right here in Charlottesville, there's a corner of the Orient, the Hong Kong restaurant. It's a quick stop for lunch, leisure, business, or an evening out. Good food, good spirits, good company. The Hong Kong restaurant offers Cantonese and Szechuan dishes expertly prepared. Dine in or enjoy the convenient carryout. The Hong Kong restaurant, across from University Hall, Charlottesville's corner of the Orient.
A.G. Dillard, since 1966, does residential and commercial work in the Charlottesville area. A.G. Dillard does excavating, grading, and paving. Everything from sidewalks to roads, from driveways to athletic fields. A.G. Dillard applies an asphalt seal that prolongs the life of the pavement. It's skid resistant and protects against gas and oil. For your paving needs, call on A.G. Dillard.
Introducing a high-performance machine for your office. Canon's NP7550 copying system. 0 to 50 in 60 seconds flat. Automatically shifts to the right paper size. Zooms up and down. Does two-sided copying. From two-sided originals and sorting, all automatically. That's why Canon's NP7550 is the automatic choice. So step on it. You've got deadlines to meet.
Available at Virginia Copiers, your local authorized Canon dealer.
We've just finished playing our Star Spangled Banner with the North Carolina Marching Band as we are just a few minutes away from kickoff, North Carolina and Virginia. And Gary Sparber, for Virginia this year, it has been a frustrating season in a lot of ways. A lot of reasons why the Cavaliers are 3-6 at this point.
Yeah, they really feel it's been a combination of circumstances. 4 years ago, Virginia was in a situation where they had to win right away to get credibility in their home state so they'd be able to recruit. So they didn't redshirt anybody. They kept their good freshmen in the lineup. Well, that's hurt them now. They don't have a single fifth-year senior on their ball club. Well, they had ball handling problems early in the season. Howard Petty, their best ball handler, hasn't played this year because of personal problems. Don Mikowski got hurt on the shoulder. That took away their option game. And very rare to have academic problems at Virginia, but they've had those too on the defensive side of the ball, and they lost some people there. So they don't feel they're back where they've started from at all. They have much, much better personnel than they had when George Welsh came here. It's just been a down year for a combination of reasons.
But it could be a good year in 1987 for the Virginia Cavaliers. For North Carolina, a win today and a win next week. They finished 7-3-1. Still, Dick Crum and his program have taken an awful lot of criticism in recent weeks, particularly after the loss last Saturday to Clemson. When I talked with the Carolina coach yesterday at practice, I asked him what happens with his players when they have to deal with all the criticism that the program has taken this past week.
Well, you really, I kind of like them to see it. Kind of makes them mad, and I think it's good for them. And, you know, there are a lot of people that can be critical, and, you know, they don't have any idea what goes on in a program or what you do. And I think all you have to do is look around the country, and, you know, on Saturday afternoon, half the football coaches in the country lose. So everybody's in the same position, win or lose.
Dick Crum and his Carolina Tar Heels, a story within the story here this afternoon, but we are getting set for Virginia, North Carolina. Let's take a look now at our AC Delco starting lineups. For its second straight victory, they'll look this way up front. It'll be Dean Hackemer, a junior, at left offensive tackle, another junior, John Fetzko from Pittsburgh, at left guard, and redshirt freshman from Charlottesville, Tim Morris, at center. The lone senior on the front line, Chris Manier, is at right guard. Paul Sirosinski from Yardley, Pennsylvania, at right tackle. Joel Dempsey will start at tight end. John Ford, the sophomore from Belglade, Florida, is the split receiver. Keith Mattioli, their top receiver, is at flanker. Derwin Greggs, what a ball game last week, again the fullback. Antonio Rice, the senior, at tailback. And Don Mikowski will be the Cavalier quarterback. Defensively for the Carolina Tar Heels as they try and get it back together, Ron Burton will be at left tackle. Tim Gold returns at nose man, and the giant Reuben Davis will be at defensive guard. Carlton Bailey gets the start at defensive end this afternoon. The linebackers, Leonard Dempsey, will be at one inside spot. Their top tackler, Brett Rudolph, the other inside linebacker. Derrick Donald, their leading interceptor, at left cornerback. Jim York will start at right corner this afternoon. In the secondary, Walter Bailey is their ram back. Norris Davis will start at strong safety, and Dan Bulatich will be the free safety. That's our AC Delco starting lineups for this afternoon. Remember, start your car with an AC Delco Freedom battery and Surefire AC spark plugs. We'll be back with more right after this timeout.
Another job interview, hotshot?
Jefferson Pilot Communications.
Don't they televise big sporting events?
Racing, football, basketball, and that's just JP Teleproductions. Jefferson Data Systems designs computer systems for broadcasters. And Co-Opportunities and Jefferson Pilot Retail Services help broadcasters develop larger advertising budgets.
Somebody's done their homework.
I want them to like me.
Well, they might, if your shoes matched.
Jefferson Pilot Communications is more than meets the eye. You stepped up to a 35mm camera because you wanted to get serious about your photography. There, the image is on the film, but will it be on the print? It will if it's Eckerd's UltraLab 35 processing. UltraLab 35 examines each negative for color and contrast, prints on high-gloss Kodak paper for incredible reproduction, and UltraLab prints are 30% larger. Be sure that the image you shoot is the image you get. UltraLab 35 from Eckerd, when you're serious about 35mm.
Atlantic Coast Conference football coming your way Saturday, November 22nd. The Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech takes on the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Watch the ACC stars shine as head coach Bill Curry rallies his Yellow Jackets into action for their final conference matchup of the season. It'll be a battle for the final victory as star quarterback Mike Elkins once again leads his explosive Deacon offense. ACC football, Georgia Tech and Wake Forest, Saturday at noon.
You're looking live at Kenan Stadium in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. The Tar Heels could still share the ACC title and go to a bowl. But to do it, they'll have to beat a maturing Virginia team that may still be on track for a big ACC future. A broken leg and a losing record have made this less than a banner season for Virginia football coach George Welsh. But despite the off year, Virginia still has weapons, like the second all-time leading Cavalier passer, Don Mikowski. Mikowski has had to battle a bad shoulder for much of this, his senior season, but he is still a quarterback capable of making the big play on any down. Lately, Mikowski has been complimented by a brand new Virginia weapon in the person of freshman fullback Derwin Greggs. Out of Upper Marlboro, Maryland, Greggs combines great vision with sheer power and determination. And last week he had a big part in Virginia's conquest of previously magical North Carolina State. North Carolina's Dick Crum also is hobbling as his team struggles. But he has weapons too, like rangy tailback Derrick Fenner, who's averaging better than 100 yards a game. The second leading rusher in the Atlantic Coast Conference, Fenner runs behind a huge offensive line, and he could well become the latest 1,000-yard Tar Heel tailback. Thanks to the return of standout quarterback Mark Maye, North Carolina has become prolific through the air, too. Once the nation's most sought-after prep quarterback, Maye has returned to form after a shoulder injury that set him back. And he combines with receivers like Tar Heel Quint Smith to give North Carolina a balanced offensive attack. With those weapons, two wounded football teams will look to salvage a season. Today, it's the Nissan Game of the Week as Virginia meets North Carolina.
Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions presents exclusive live coverage of Atlantic Coast Conference football. Today, live from Kenan Stadium in Chapel Hill, it's the Virginia Cavaliers versus the Tar Heels of North Carolina. Brought to you by the Jefferson Pilot Companies, helping to put a brighter face on the future. Delta, the airline of ACC country. Delta gets you there with care. Coors, the beer with a difference worth tasting. Coors is the one. Poland, America's chainsaw. First Wachovia, serving the financial needs of individuals and businesses in the Southeast and the nation. And by Nissan, where you can get a 1987 hardbody truck with $630 worth of options at no extra charge.
There are the Virginia Cavaliers. It has not been the kind of season for them they would have liked, but they looked good last week in knocking off North Carolina State 3-6, where they can make that look a lot more respectable with a win here today against North Carolina. And then in less than 2 weeks, they'll take on Maryland. George Welsh, both coaches hobbling today. There you see the Virginia head man. He has really done a nice job taking a Virginia program that was almost in shambles when he arrived. And although they don't have a good record this year, they have done well since he's been there. They are the North Carolina Tar Heels. That record better than Virginia's, but not as nice as North Carolina fans would like to have it, considering they started this season at 4-0-1. And there is the hobbling Dick Crum, under some pressure from the fans to be sure right now. He can make up for that a bit with a win here today. Hi again, everybody. Gary Sparber along with Jack Corrigan. A rainy day here in Chapel Hill, and that's going to be one of the stories of this ball game. It is very wet out there. What can the teams do under these conditions?
Well, we had some really torrential downpours earlier in the morning, and it's getting mistier now, but certainly the field is soggy, and I think, Gary, the key factors we have to look at this afternoon, first of all, which team can dominate the line of scrimmage, because on a soggy field, traction's going to be a big factor. And you know there are going to be turnovers this afternoon because of the wet conditions. So it's going to be the team that turns over the ball less frequently that's going to come out on top today.
Certainly the North Carolina defense has been a mystery to a lot of people, including the coaches at Carolina. They simply have given up 30 points or more in each of the last 5 ball games. That won't get it done too often.
Dick Crum does not know the answer why they have not gotten it done. He's made some changes defensively. He hopes that'll turn it around this afternoon.
Well, they'll have to turn it around in the next few minutes because we're about ready to play ACC football. North Carolina and Virginia, the Tar Heels, still with a shot at a part of the ACC title. We'll be back.
Thanks. You know, it kind of makes you wonder. I mean, why does Coors develop their own special boiler? Have their own fleet of refrigerated trucks? They even designed and built their own malt house. Well, there's a saying, when you want it done right, do it yourself. This is right.
Did you see this story about Social Security?
I'm not worried.
And that Medicare business, that doesn't worry you?
Nope.
The cost of living doesn't worry you either, I'll bet. Hey, let me ask you something. How come I'm worried and you're not?
I have a Jefferson Standard agent. Let him worry.
Jefferson Standard. Our business is your future.
I used to do my own worry. Now, I'm too busy.
Champion Nissan racer Roger Mears knows toughness and value make a winning machine. Introducing the hard body 4x4 Value Plus package. With options worth $630 at no extra charge. Get this tough tube bumper, sliding rear window, fender flares, and much more. A total Nissan package worth $630. Yours for
nothing flat.
The hard body 4x4 is Value Plus. The name is Nissan.
As you can see, conditions are far from ideal here this afternoon. Jack, you mentioned turnovers. As you see, we're at Kenan Stadium in Chapel Hill. Turnovers and holding on to the football. All sorts of wacky things could happen before we're done.
And this football field, because it has taken a lot of moisture, is going to dictate how people operate, particularly at the end of the stadium to our right, down along the near sideline. That tends to be a sloppier part of the field than any place else here at Kenan Stadium. So if you see either team, particularly Carolina, with a little local knowledge, down at that end of the stadium, look for them to keep in the middle of the field and move to their left because it's a little drier. The field also, has a big crown, so you've got a lot of soft turf on both sidelines.
And it's also colder here today, I think, than either team has dealt with this season. You're going to see some gloves tried out by both teams. We'll see how that might or might not affect play. There's Jeff Gaffney, the soccer-style kicker. Outstanding soccer player, but this year has been outstanding in a kicking role for Virginia. 11 of 15 field goals and done pretty well in his kickoffs as well. That's Torrin Dorn, the highly touted freshman out of Southfield, Michigan, a true freshman, as opposed to a redshirt one, and we are set to go. Remember, North Carolina, with a win, stays alive for a share of a league title. Dorn moves up to take it at the 13. Has a little bit of a crease, but it closed up quickly. Eric Clay brought down Torrin Dorn at the 34-yard line, and that is where North Carolina will start out a 21-yard return for the freshman.
North Carolina offense with junior quarterback Mark Maye at the controls. Maye will have Torrin Dorn starting at tailback. Derrick Fenner will not get his starting nod, and James Thompson, the sophomore at fullback. Big offensive line headed up by left tackle Harris Barton. They do not have Creighton Incremedius in at right tackle. He's had an ankle problem.
1st and 10 from the North Carolina 34. That's Eric Streeter at the bottom of your screen. Dangerous wide receiver for the Tar Heels. Might have been a mix-up on the first play. They get it to Streeter, and Streeter up to the 45-yard line. So whatever happened at the start of the play, they wind up with 11 yards, and Phil Thomas, the freshman linebacker, makes the stop for Virginia.
It was not a busted play. It was the nose man as we take a look at the front line of Virginia. Judd Rupp, who took a little gap shot and hit Mark Maye, but Maye was able to get the ball up. Rayotis Perkins and Sean Scott, the top players on that defensive line. 2 freshmen at linebackers, Thomas and Ray Savage. The secondary has senior Gould at one corner, but the other players are relatively newcomers as well. Cook, a true freshman, Clay and Mike Pettin, the safeties. Pettin, of course, the hero last week with the 3 interceptions.
They got 10 yards on the play, and after the measurement, it's a first down for North Carolina. There you see the officiating crew, Bob Carpenter, heading up the group. We saw the Tar Heels a few weeks ago against Maryland show us a very balanced attack where they throw on first down, run on first down. They've been criticized at times in the Dick Crum years for being too conservative. We'll see how they operate this afternoon against Virginia. 1st and 10 from about their 45. The Tar Heels with the football. First carry for Torrin Dorn, and he got through the hole quickly, fumbled the football, and I think it was Kevin Cook, the freshman who came up with it. Virginia gets the turnover. We talked about what it would be like handling that football.
Kevin Cook, the true freshman out of the Cleveland, Ohio area, falls on the loose football. Dorn jumps through the hole quickly, but as he was shedding a tackle, Sean Scott and Ray Savage hitting him, the ball popped free, and Cook happened to be the man on the spot for Virginia. The first of what is going to be a very big stat throughout the afternoon. Turnovers.
No question about that. Don Mikowski, the quarterback, has it on his 43. 1st and 10, the initial Virginia possession. Pat Toland is the fullback starting for Derwin Greggs, who has an injured ankle. Mikowski on the roll. And the pass is thrown behind the fullback, Pat Toland, incomplete. It will be 2nd and 10.
The Virginia offense led by that guy right there, number 1, senior quarterback Don Mikowski. Antonio Rice will play at tailback along with Kevin Morgan. Pat Toland starting for Derwin Greggs at fullback, but Greggs will play. Ford and Mattioli, the wide receivers. The offensive line headed up by right guard Chris Manier. He's been their best blocker in recent weeks.
Toland is the man right behind the quarterback, Mikowski. He gets the football, and a good defensive play there by Reuben Davis cutting through to mess up the play, and then Carlton Bailey in on the tackle. They got about 2 yards, bring up a 3rd down and 8 from the 45.
Virginia had very good success with that play last week against NC State. It's a little bit of a delay handoff. It's a trap action in front, and the fullback, Greggs, last week popped through for big yardage. Toland found it a little more difficult there on his first try.
Toland has been an up-and-down player for Virginia this year. They'd like to have Greggs in there, but as we told you, he's got the bad ankle. On the option pitch, a fumble by Virginia, and North Carolina gets the football right back in great field position at the 34 of the Cavaliers.
We anticipated Virginia wanting to run the option because Clemson ran it so well. I tell you what, though, it looked like Mikowski got rid of that ball a little quicker than he probably should have.
3rd time this season that Brett Rudolph has recovered a fumble for the Tar Heels, so instead of an exchange of punts, we've had an exchange of fumbles. We'll be back. We're scoreless in the first period at Kenan Stadium.
Welcome to the Silver Bullet, home of a cold Coors Light.
Rob, do you work out?
Yeah, I belong to a club. Here's your Coors Light.
Yeah, I'm thinking about joining a club, but can't seem to find a good enough reason. I mean, is a flat stomach a good enough reason?
Nope.
Building up my endurance?
Nope.
Big muscles?
No.
See the club, Rob?
Yeah.
Oh, what's the name of that club? No slowing down with the Silver Bullet tonight.
I was 10 years old when I built my first model plane. I thought it was fantastic. Flew all of about 5 feet the first time out, but that was enough. I knew then I wanted to fly forever. It's a feeling, it gets into your blood. And after 20 years of flying with Delta, it's still there. Hey, I may never get you to feel the way I do about flying, but sure would like to try.
Delta gets you there. We get you there with care.
A Wachovia personal banker. One person who makes the decisions, gets you the money. One person with the knowledge, information, options, answers. One person who puts the people, resources, and services of the bank to work for you. And makes your banking simpler, easier, faster. A Wachovia personal banker. The one who gets it done.
We expected Virginia to run the option, but Don Mikowski, with that injured shoulder, is hesitant about running this option as much as he did earlier in the season, and that, quite frankly, was just a bad pitch. Antonio Rice had no chance.
Looked like he lost the handle. North Carolina with it on the 34 of Virginia. First and 10. Torrin Dorn was hit behind the line of scrimmage and then moved forward for about 2 yards. It was Phil Thomas, the linebacker, who got him around the legs behind the line of scrimmage, tripping him up. It'll be about second down and 8 yards to go.
We talked about it last week, but it bears repeating. Those two freshman linebackers, Phil Thomas, a true walk-on from Houston, Texas, and Ray Savage, the high school All-American from Newport News, have been a surprising plus for George Welsh this year.
You're wondering about Derrick Fenner. We expect to see him this afternoon. Torrin Dorn has just been coming on very strong for the Tar Heels in practice. Fenner had a good game last week. This is Dorn trying to get around the corner, and Briggs made the stop. David Briggs, the sophomore out of Pennsauken, New Jersey, made some big plays in the game we had last week for Virginia against North Carolina State.
Virginia has an extremely young defense right now because of injuries and academic problems and other factors. Griggs, one of 16 freshmen or sophomores on the defensive two deep, did a good job of stringing that play out, and there with Thomas to make the stop. Virginia has only two starting seniors on defense, Rayotis Perkins and Kevin Gould.
Tar Heels have had good field position each time they've had the ball. They have a 3rd down and 7, though, here. Thompson and Dorn behind Mark Maye. Maye has time and has Streeter, but the pass was thrown down low and could not be handled by the receiver. Mike Pettin covering on the play. What a day Pettin had last week. 3 interceptions, tying a Virginia school record, all in the last 5 minutes of the game, the victory against State.
Maye's first look was to his backside. He hoped to get Randy Marriott, who was one-on-one with Kevin Cook on a post pattern, but Cook had pretty good coverage. He went back to Streeter on the crossing pattern underneath and just didn't get the ball there.
So it's 4th down. The Virginia defense has held, and they're going to try a long field goal. And Kenny Miller, who is the long field goal specialist, is on for Carolina with Mark Maye to hold. This will be a 48-yard try. He's got the distance, and the kick is good. Kenny Miller, who was 1 for 2 on long tries, is now 2 for 3, and North Carolina draws first blood.
So the exchange of fumbles gave Carolina decent field position, and Kenny Miller is showing the Tar Heel fans he's got a pretty good leg.
He allows the Tar Heels to get 3 points on the board. They lead it 3-0 here at Kenan Stadium. Back after this for your local ACC stations.
You've got just a few days to save big on major appliances, televisions, and stereos during Holdren's 1986 Price Expo. Save this weekend on a Fisher VHS video recorder with wireless remote and HQ video enhancement for just $349.95. Save $50. Or save on a Frigidaire microwave oven with 10 power levels, just $199.95. You save $60. If you come in by Saturday, you can get $1,500 instant credit with approval. Holdren's, I-64 at the 5th Street exit, Charlottesville.
Alex Dotson Sports and Imports invites your car to come into their body shop and get in shape for winter. Alex Dotson offers free estimates, expert service, and competitive prices. Listen to what people say about Alex Dotson.
I'm in and out in no time, and the cost is very reasonable.
Very competitive. He's a very likable person, and I just trust him with my car.
And now enjoy special savings on our cooling system services, tune-up, and brake specials. Alex Dotson Sports and Imports, 701 Preston Avenue.
3-0 North Carolina on the 48-yard field goal by Kenny Miller, and Miller, who does double duty, also as the kickoff specialist, will boot it off to Virginia. Didn't take very long, just 4 plays. They only gained 2 yards, but when your man can kick at 48, you don't need a whole lot.
Well, they got the good kickoff return, and then the initial first down, and then, quite frankly, a good run by Dorn before he fumbled the ball, sort of gave Carolina the field position advantage, and then when Virginia fumbled it back to Carolina, they were already in scoring territory, and even without making the first down, they come away with some points.
I've got to believe field position is going to be a key all day because you're going to have turnovers. You'd much rather turn it over in good field position than back in your own end. Virginia will get the football. The Cavaliers probably not all that distraught, though, because their defense has had problems all year. As you look at Dick Crum, and they have stopped the Tar Heels on their first 2 possessions. Only the long field goal got Carolina on the board. North Carolina State off quickly against Duke. The Wolfpack in almost the same situation as the Tar Heels.
Eric Kramer did start this afternoon for the Wolfpack. In fact, they said yesterday he practiced without a limp, which is very encouraging for Wolfpack fans.
That's Chris Warren back deep to receive for Virginia. He is the number 1 all-purpose runner in the ACC, number 6 nationally. Miller boots it off low, handled nicely by Finkelstein at the 15. Tim Finkelstein, a wide receiver, gets up to the 35-yard line. Tackle was made by Bill Franklin, a freshman defensive back out of Cincinnati, Ohio, a 21-yard return.
They elect to kick the ball away from Chris Warren, and Tim Finkelstein, who is a walk-on for the Virginia program, found a little seam and pushed it upfield pretty nicely. So the Cavaliers have good field position to start this drive.
Derwin Greggs is in the game now at fullback. Kevin Morgan is the tailback. They gave him a kickoff return progress to the 36. That's John Ford in motion. This is Morgan, and there was nowhere to go. Tim Goad did what the nose guard is supposed to do, and that is plug up the middle.
So did Mitch White, who came through and put a little pressure on that Virginia offensive line, and Morgan just had no territory in which to operate.
They got a yard. It'll be 2nd down and 9 for Virginia. We told you Greggs has a little bit banged up ankle. He has had fantastic games the last 2 weeks. 2nd down, only a little less than the full 10. This is Morgan again with Greggs leading the way. And Carlton Bailey, who has good speed for a defensive lineman, came across and brought him down. It'll be 3rd and long.
Keep an idea here on what North Carolina is trying to do in terms of the option. They want to stretch it out, have people come up from the secondary. That's Jim Yawk, who is a sophomore getting his first start at right cornerback. Carolina last week against Clemson really had problems on the outside with run support from the secondary.
3rd down and 9. That is Ford in the slot at the top of your screen. Mikowski has time and completes his pass to Keith Mattioli at the 46-yard line of North Carolina. 1st and 10 for Virginia. Derrick Donald on the stop. Mattioli, the leading receiver, his 37th catch of the season.
As you watch Mikowski here, they sent John Ford up the middle of the field. That throws the linebacker and the safety man, and it enabled Mattioli to come down in front of Howard Feggins and catch the pass to keep the Virginia drive going.
They got 18 yards on the play. Mattioli, another former walk-on for Virginia. 1st and 10. First carry for Derwin Greggs. Reuben Davis made the stop, and I think Virginia's finding out what they thought they'd find out, that it's tougher running against North Carolina up front than North Carolina State.
Well, it's a much bigger defensive line than they faced last week. Ron Burton, Tim Goad, Reuben Davis, and Carlton Bailey. That's some big people. Davis, a 275-pounder. So is Goad. Rudolph and White step up nicely out of their linebacker spots, and Walter Bailey, when he is on, is all over the field.
2nd down, 8. Good protection again, and there's nowhere to run for Kevin Morgan, who took the flare pass. Again, it was, well, this time it was Howard Fagan. Again, Carlton Bailey involved in the tackle.
We talked a few moments ago about the necessity of the outside and deep people putting pressure on the run part of the offense, and basically a swing pass is the same kind of philosophy, and Fagans came up quickly from strong safety to do the job there.
See what they do on 3rd and 10. Markowski to Ford, and Ford could not hang on. Now, a moderately difficult catch, yes, but Ford has had trouble hanging on to the football this year.
It's been a disappointment for John personally and for Virginia that he has not had the consistency he has wanted to have in terms of catching the football. But he is such an electrifying player, Gary. You just got to keep going to him and hope that the pluses outweigh the minuses.
Joel Dempsey has kicked 10 punts inside the opponent's 20 in the last 6 games. He has a possibility of doing it again here. He has really improved as the season's gone on. This is a shorter kick, and what a pop that was. Eric Lewis caught the punt, 26 yards on the kick. Darrell Hammond, was the one who laid the wood to him.
Joe Carnucci on the tackle. 26-yard punt.
The announcers for this game are selected and compensated by Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions. This broadcast is a copyright presentation. Any use of this broadcast without the express permission of Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions is prohibited. North Carolina with the football now, starting from their 20-yard line after the short punt. James Thompson, the fullback, will carry, and he ran right through an attempted tackle in the secondary and got up to the 31-yard line. Mike Pettin, the free safety, had him, but Thompson is a big load to bring down, and he ends up with a first down.
Well, in Thompson, you have a guy built along the same lines as Derwin Greggs for Virginia. Thompson, a 5'11", 225-pounder. And if you allow guys built like that to get up ahead of steam, they are most difficult to bring down.
1st and 10, Virginia at their 31. It's 3-0 North Carolina midway through the first period. Mark Maye, quarterback. This is Derrick Fenner's first carry. And Fenner drives into the secondary and got another first down before Eric Clay brought him down.
Derrick Fenner, who was on his way to a 1,000-yard season despite missing one ball game this year, was not in the starting lineup this afternoon because he was tardy to practice a couple of days this week. And obviously, Derrick didn't like standing on the sidelines to begin the action, and in his first carry, he moves the chains further upfield for Carolina.
Tough series for Mike Pettin. First, Thompson pulled by him, and Fenner put a great move on him on that play. Another first down. Maye still has the football. Right on the money to Eric Streeter, and that will be another North Carolina first down. 3 plays on this series and 3 first downs. Kevin Gould on the tackle, 13 yards on the play.
This was a very slow developing play action by Carolina, but on the rollout, Maye had enough time. The deep curl route by Streeter. Eric Clay, the strong safety, was up on the line of scrimmage, and that's what created the space for Streeter to make the catch.
North Carolina moving smartly on this drive. The fullback, James Thompson, is hit and brought down by the linebacker, Ray Savage, but he got 5 yards.
Virginia, because of their inexperience on defense, George Wells told us yesterday, has been forced to be a little more conservative, a little more basic defensively. In fact, he said, we've eliminated just about one defensive front totally because of the inexperience. That makes the job easier for the offensive line.
Not bad when you consider Mark Maye missed their first part of the season. 2nd and 6 for Carolina. Fenner once again got a pretty good block from his center, Jeff Garnica, and got up close to a first down. As a result, Ray Savage again on the stop.
To elaborate on the point I was just talking about, if the defensive line stays fairly basic in the same defensive front each time, you're not putting pressure on adjustments by the offensive line. They come out there and they know, all right, this is the guy I'm going to block this time. And for that reason, it becomes more of a physical matchup, man on man, strength against strength. And when you do that against an offensive line like North Carolina, you got to give the Tar Heels the advantage because they've got a huge offensive line.
Very tough assignment for the defensive line of Virginia now. 3rd down and less than a yard against that big, hulking offensive line. Fenner fumbled the football, and Virginia has it back. 3rd fumble of the game, and the Cavaliers dodge this bullet.
John Scott The junior linebacker on the outside comes up with the ball, and that's the kind of thing we're going to see all afternoon. Carolina controlling the football here. Fenner has the first down, and David Griggs coming over from his left defensive end popped the ball free. Scott comes up with it for Virginia. They stop the Carolina drive.
Third fumble recovery of the season for Sean Scott. It's 3-0 North Carolina when we come back.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
A baseball player. A movie star.
At Pilot Life, we know how important dreams are.
An astronaut.
After all, we've been insuring them for over 80 years.
A teacher.
With affordable life insurance policies that can guarantee your children's dreams.
A doctor.
Where are you going to get the money to be a doctor?
My daddy.
At Pilot Life, we believe nothing should happen to your children's dreams if something should happen to you. You see, we never forget that behind every policy is a person.
Here's great news for truck buyers. Nissan announces the all-new 1987 hardbody truck that still sells for only $65.99. Here's even greater news. Nissan is adding a special option package to E-models. Sporty graphics, sleek outside mirror, fender flares, bright wheel trim rings, sliding rear window, and a rugged bumper. A $630 value at no additional cost. America's best truck value just got better. They're available now at your nearby Nissan dealer.
It has rained since early this morning here in Chapel Hill. It got very hard around 11 a.m. It slackened off some, and it is cold. 38 degrees, but you've got that chill wind coming in on you.
What are you talking about?
It is cold. You're wearing a sweater. What were you telling me about those long woolies you got today?
Well, that's because I'm used to this.
All right. First down and 10 from the 32. Don Mikowski trying to get some points on the board. This is Kevin Morgan. Morgan gets by Norris Davis. Morgan by midfield and into North Carolina territory. Taken out of bounds at about the 44-yard line, a 22-yard gain for Kevin Morgan, and the tackle was made by Jim Young.
Virginia wants to attack the outside against North Carolina. They were very susceptible to the outside run last week against Clemson. Kevin Morgan broke a few tackles and turned it upfield before Donald and Yauk ran him out of bounds.
First down for the Cavaliers at the 46 of North Carolina. This is Derwin Griggs. Griggs just didn't have any room. He's going to find the going a lot more difficult today up the middle than it was last week.
Well, Virginia added that little fullback trap play last week as a new play in their offense, and North Carolina State could not handle it at all. Carolina scouts that game. They look at the film. They're ready for it, plus they're a bigger defensive line. It has not worked in 3 tries this afternoon for Virginia.
Virginia felt one of the keys to its win was blocking nose guard Sandy Key of State. They haven't been able to do it to Reuben Davis so far today. Not a whole lot there for the fullback who got about 2 or 3 yards, Derwin Griggs, and it will be third down and long. The tackle made by Ron Burton and Tim Goad.
Virginia, if it was a drier afternoon, would certainly be trying to attack the perimeter a little more, thereby setting up that inside game. But when they start on first down with the inside run, don't get anything, and same with second down. Boy, you hate to be in 3rd and 9 setups too often.
But that's what they have right now, 3rd and 9 from the 43 of North Carolina. Protection is good. Now McCaskey flushed out, and down he goes. Carlton Bailey. And Bailey, who is their quickest pass rusher, finally got his first sack of the season. He's had a bunch of pressures.
This is a sack that belongs to the secondary, really. They just had great coverage downfield. Mikowski, under normal circumstances, had enough time to throw the ball, but there was nobody to throw it to, and he gets sacked by Carlton Bailey.
Eric Lewis back deep to receive the punt of Joel Dempsey. North Carolina's defense holds. The Tar Heels lead at 3-0. We have 6 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Lewis from the 11. Got as much as he could back to the 20-yard line. 9-yard punt return after a 40-yard kick, and the tackle made by Darrell Hammond for Virginia. As you look at the punter, Dempsey. North Carolina 3, Virginia nothing. The Tar Heels will have the ball back when we come back after this.
I always thought the time was a measure of quality. Now they've got technology that can cut the time of aging beer to that. Bam! Instant beer. Not Coors. Coors ages their beer longer than any other major brewer. Almost twice as long. To age any beer longer, it gets smoother. More easy drinking. More like Coors. Nope. Coors won't take shortcuts with time. Coors is the one.
You might get caught out in the middle of nowhere with a dead battery, but I won't. This is a Delco maintenance-free battery, and when this green eye is showing, it means I've got all the starting power I need, up to 770 cranking amps. If you think your battery's fading fast, I'd start thinking Delco.
Now through January 3rd, get a $5 rebate on most Delco batteries. See a participating AC Delco retailer for details.
Never wait for trouble.
3-0 North Carolina, 5:46 to go in the first quarter.
Greg Murden was shaken up on the play for Virginia. Looks like it's a shoulder or some kind of arm problem on the right side. As they covered the punt, Carolina starts its new drive just beyond its own 20-yard line.
James Thompson is the fullback. Derrick Fenner, the tailback, for Mark Maye, who's gone all the way at quarterback for North Carolina. This is Fenner. Fenner is tripped up at about the 27-yard line. He got 6. David Griggs on the tackle. The thing coaches don't like about Fenner, the opposition that is, he leans forward and gets 2 extra yards.
Well, that also makes him susceptible to the hit on the ball for the fumble, as happened on Carolina's last possession. But most coaches try and get the guy carrying the ball to have that forward lean, to always be making forward progress, and Fenner can do that.
2nd down 4 for the Tar Heels. Eric Streeter at the bottom of your screen. Fenner again. Not much. The linebackers filled the gap that time. Ray Savage on the stop, and I think they got the first down at the 32. Yes, they did.
We mentioned a very big offensive line for North Carolina. Harris Martin, their All-American candidate at left tackle, is a 280-pounder. Darrell Hamilton, the sophomore at right tackle, 270 pounds. Ralph Pfeiffer or Steinbacher, whichever of those two guys is in a guard. They're another pair of big boys.
1st and 10 for North Carolina. Fenner doing much of ball carrying now. Breaks into the open field. The football is Fenner. 9-yard line. And Fenner. Did he score or was he out of bounds? Touchdown, North Carolina. Derrick Fenner all the way for 68 yards.
Sean Scott made a valiant effort to catch him, but Fenner was able to keep his balance long enough to fall into the end zone. He's going to give you some problems here and there, but there's little question he's got an awful lot of talent.
Well, we talked before the game. Fenner, but he missed practice a couple of days this week.
He's late to practice.
Late to practice. They were unhappy with him. He missed a plane earlier this season, but when they can get him on the football field, he gets the job done pretty well. Legally, Armis will look to have the extra point with Mark Maye holding. It's 9-0 North Carolina right now. Amend that to 10-0.
Well, if you are controlling the line of scrimmage, when you put Derrick Fenner into the secondary, it's a physical mismatch. Good block by James Thompson on the lead on linebacker Phil Thomas, and now you've got Fenner in the open field. They turned around Kevin Cook with a block downfield by Eric Streeter. Great effort by Sean Scott. Look at the balance of Fenner. Got hit at the 5, still kept his feet and dove into the end zone for the touchdown. He is at 100 yards rushing now in the afternoon and just 22 yards away from a 1,000-yard season.
He had over 200 yards in the opening game of the season against the Citadel. How about the speed of Sean Scott on that play? A defensive lineman actually closed ground and almost tripped up there.
You saw right there, Derrick Fenner, as you look at his numbers, put the congratulatory hug on James Thompson, his fullback. That was just a straight lead play. Man-on-man blocking up front. The fullback's job is to lead through the hole and stuff the linebacker, and he stuffed Phil Thomas. Great block by Thompson.
So Derrick Fenner has stood open to 10-0. Still 4:35 to go on the first period. Kenny Miller will boot it off for the Tar Heels. Chris Warren back deep to receive it. Warren moving over, will not take it though. Finkelstein will have his second return. He started at the 9, and he finished in the arms of Jim Young at the 26.
From the Virginia 9.
So that's a 17-yard return.
Even though we still have 4:27 to play here in the first quarter, it's starting to get to be tough decision time for Virginia. Because of the weather conditions, you cannot allow Virginia to fall more. You cannot allow yourself, being Virginia, to fall too far behind here because the field's going to make it more and more difficult to come back.
It's Derwin Greggs and Kevin Morgan behind Don Mikowski, and Virginia starts from its 26, now trailing 10-0. Morgan and Carlton Bailey's had a good first period. Bailey with another tackle.
Virginia is going to be forced to throw the football here, Gary. This is the decision I was talking about. Here early on, Carolina is saying, we are going to force you to throw the ball. We're going to deny you your running game. You're going to have to show us that you can throw the football.
North Carolina has not beaten Virginia since 4 years ago. 2 victories and a tie for the Wahoos in the last 3 years. Second down, 13. Again, Carlton Bailey putting pressure on. And Mikowski run out by Tim Goad. It'll be about 3rd and 15.
They are just dominating the line of scrimmage. Carolina has been susceptible to the pass this year. They are giving up exactly 400 yards a game on an average, but 240 of that has been through the air to 160 on the ground, and so they're really saying that they're going to deny the run, and you're going to have to beat us with the pass, and it's tough in this kind of weather.
Pass rush is always part of it. Carolina's only had 1 sack in the last 4 games. They may get another here. McCaskey just can't get it off. And down goes Morgan at the 22-yard line. Great defensive series for North Carolina. The linebackers, Brett Rudolph and Leonard Dempsey, covering up there.
Watch Tim Goad. It was a little X-stunt inside. Goad, the nose man, lined up to the left of Mikowski and then rushed to his right and came in untouched and nearly came up with a sack.
Joel Dempsey has worse field position to punt from than he's had today. Eric Lewis is back at his 45. There he is. Lewis, one of the top punt returners in the league. In fact, he is the top punt returner in the league statistically right now. He's had an 84-yarder for a touchdown earlier.
Virginia won the toss in this ball game and deferred, hoping that they would get the advantage of field position. It has not worked out that way for the Cavaliers.
Still raining, has been all day here in Chapel Hill. It's gotten a little bit warmer. Lewis has room to run at his 40. Flag is down as Lewis goes down up near midfield, and now another flag goes down. And we'll wait to see how they...
All that action in midfield, Gary, is going to be of no consequence because they roughed Joel Dempsey. They tried for a middle block, and Tim Goad just couldn't veer off his path, and he banged into Dempsey. It would only be, I think, the 5-yard infraction.
Well, a second flag is down. I believe this will go against the same team, which would mean the block would, the roughing the kicker would be enforced. Let's see. You could get offsetting penalties in the
Personal foul on the blue and clip on the blue.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You're not going to get offsetting here because you have 2 fouls against North Carolina.
That should give Virginia a first down.
Well, they called it a personal foul, so that would be the 15-yard more serious version of it. And they had about 4th and 14.
Yeah, they came right into the kicker, Joel Dempsey. They were going for a middle block after putting pressure from the outside the previous 2 punts. They come up the middle this time. And Tim Goad and, it was actually Skeet Baldwin who banged into Tim Goad and then into Joel Dempsey.
Boy, I'll buy that a flag goes down, but I don't know about 15 yards. State's still leading Duke by a touchdown, and State, of course, can share the ACC title if they win and Clemson loses.
That's a tough call, Gary, when you decide should it be the 5-yard penalty or the 15-yard penalty. And I don't know necessarily the criteria that the officials use in that judgment, but they went with the 15-yarder and gives Virginia the first down, a much better field position.
At their 37-yard line, it's 10-0 North Carolina, 2:57 to go, first quarter. Ahead goes Pat Toland up to the 41-yard line. He got 4. Second down at about 6. Ron Burton on the stop for North Carolina.
Well, we talked about the option plans of Virginia, but to make the wide game operate, you have to at least a couple of times give that fullback the football when you are running that belly option. They gave it to Tolan that time, and he picked up 4 yards.
Second down, 6 for the Wahoos. Don McCaskey at quarterback. We'll probably see Scott Seakules as well before the day is over. A counter play, and Tolan bangs into a couple of Tar Heels. He'll be about 2 or 3 yards shy of a first down. Leonard Dempsey in on the tackle.
Keep an isolated look if we can on Tim Goad, the nose man for North Carolina, as he has been a guy who has wreaked havoc against a lot of running games this year. They try and double team him to wall off that left side of the Carolina defense. They did a pretty good job that time. Tim Morris and John Fetzko blocking.
This is a 3rd down and 2 play. And a great catch and a first down for the Cavaliers.
Keith Mattioli.
A nice reception by Mattioli. Athletic move as the ball was thrown where he had to really adjust to it and got the first down, a 12-yard reception.
Mattioli, the senior from Chantilly, Virginia, was a walk-on at one point for the Cavaliers. You get into these kind of conditions, you tell receivers not to catch the ball with their body. A day like today, you make an exception.
In Raleigh, Bobby Crumpler has scored a couple of touchdowns for North Carolina State. Mikowski to John Ford. Did Ford get it inbounds? Yes. Remember, in college football, you need only 1 foot inbounds, and that's all he had. First down, Virginia.
We talked about John Ford having the kind of talent to break a game open, so you keep going to him, even when he is struggling. And Ford made a great adjustment to catch that ball, got the 1 foot in front of Jim Yawk, and gets the first down inside the Carolina 20. That was an excellent adjustment on the ball by John Ford.
A 27-yard reception by Ford. First and 10. This is Tolan down in the backfield, and he got a good 7 yards on first down. It'll be 2nd and 3. Taken out by Antonio Goss. Goss, a sophomore out of Randleman, North Carolina, who backs up Walter Bailey at the ramback spot.
Isn't it amazing how momentum shifts in this game? Virginia gets the 3rd down on the nice effort by Mattioli. Now, all of a sudden, a little bit of confidence in the passing game. 2 more completions in a row, and they're knocking on the door.
They got 8 yards. 2nd down and 2. Pat Tolan gets the first down, I think. Yeah, he'll have the first down at the 7-yard line. 1st and goal for Virginia.
Junior linebacker Brett Rudolph stepped into the hole and was right there, but he could not bring down Pat Tolan. Tolan, the sophomore out of New Jersey, goes at about 225 pounds. He shed the Carolina linebacker and pushed it down to about just inside the 7-yard line.
1st and goal from there.
What I said, though, Gary, Virginia could not allow Carolina to extend the lead more than 10 points.
About a minute to go in the first quarter. Tolan is hit hard by Mitch White. He fumbled the football, and who's going to get it? North Carolina says they have it. We wait for the official indication. Very big decision here as far as Virginia is concerned, and the Carolina Tar Heels come up with the football. A very ill-timed turnover by Virginia.
Ron Burton comes up with the ball. They stop Tolan's progress right here. The ball squirts out. Mitch White on the hit, and Ron Burton just beat Tim Morris to the football. And Carolina thwarts the best scoring attempt from the afternoon for George Welsh's Cavaliers.
Well, you think it's tough being a coach in this league? We've got 1 in a wheelchair, 1 on crutches, and 2 banished from the field today. It's a tough job. 1st and 10 at the 7. Mark Maye to Derrick Fenner, and David Griggs got just enough of Fenner and waited until he got help. About a yard gain. It'll be 2nd and 9.
Virginia right now, from a defensive point of view, has to get into a 3-and-out situation here. They've got to stop Carolina here, force Carolina to punt from deep in their own territory and get good field position. That would get them over the hump of the disappointment of blowing a scoring drive. For Carolina, if they move the ball out again, they could really put Virginia into a desperate situation.
Randy Marriott, the wide receiver at the top of your screen. Maye looking that way. He goes underneath to John Keller, and Keller gets a first down out to the 19-yard line. Keller, his tight end, and Ray Savage, the linebacker, on the tackle.
Good play action by Mark Maye. He likes to throw to his left when he rolls out. Plenty of time to throw the ball, and Keller, the linebacker, Keller slipped out past the linebacker, Ray Savage, and picked up the first down.
gives North Carolina some breathing room as you look at the sophomore. Dave Truitt is a little bit banged up, so Keller getting the start, but he's received the ball well for North Carolina this season. This is Derrick Fenner picking his way before Eric Clay brought him down at the 26. He got 6 yards, 2nd and 4.
That'll wrap things up here for the first period. North Carolina dominating behind Derrick Fenner, and a 10-0 advantage as the homestanding Heels in good shape.
Virginia had a chance, but they fumbled the football deep in North Carolina territory. North Carolina by 10 with the second period coming up.
I remember my father's favorite chair. He'd come home, stretch out, and nap through all his favorite TV shows. That chair was home to him. When you take a seat on a Delta Jet, I want you to feel like you're coming home. Sounds corny, I know, but I love what I do. And I don't get paid extra to smile. It just feels comfortable to me. Kind of like my father's chair.
Delta gets you there. We get you there with care.
Oh, that's great. When I needed a new chainsaw, I went right to a Poulin dealer.
That's Poulin.
Feature for feature, dollar for dollar, it's hard to beat a Poulin.
Poulin.
And a Poulin dealer can help you pick just the right saw for the job. Seems a saw this good deserves a dealer this good. So, when you're looking for a tough, dependable chainsaw, look for a dealer that sells Poulin. Poulin. That's what I said, Poulin.
You said Poulin?
Ask them.
Poulin, America's chainsaw.
Your Nissan game of the week, and North Carolina leading Virginia 10-0. We're at Keenan Stadium in Chapel Hill, and some very, very good news for North Carolina fans as number 27, Brad Lopp, there you see him, the fullback who's had the shoulder separation that's kept him out the past 3 or 4 weeks, has made his way back into the lineup.
Well, particularly from the point of view of blocking, he does an excellent job in the lead blocking role in front of Derrick Fenner.
2nd down 4 for North Carolina. Lopp has Derrick Fenner behind him. Mark Maye still at quarterback. The pitch to Fenner. Fenner cut inside of Kevin Cook and got up to the 30-yard line where he should have a first down.
Jimmy Sanford in the ball game now at linebacker. Unfortunately, Mr. Sanford got the same medicine that his predecessor, Phil Thomas, got in the first quarter, a crunching block from the fullback on the lead play. That time it was Lopp who dumped Sanford and enabled Fenner to scoot outside for some yardage.
You don't get a break whether it's Lopp or Thompson. Either way, look at that yardage rushing in the first period for North Carolina. They've totally dominated. Although Virginia had a chance before fumbling. 1st and 10. After play action. This is for Eric Streeter, and it's going to be picked off. Mike Pettin has his 4th interception in 2 weeks. He had 3 in the 4th quarter last week, and he gets 1 here. That ball was simply underthrown.
They had Randy Marriott behind Kevin Cook, but either Cook or Pettin could have come up with this interception as Mark Maye got a little bit too much air under this ball, and it hung up. You can see Cook and Pettin there. Marriott had fallen down, and Mike Pettin has been on quite a tear of late. Make it Eric Streeter rather than Randy Marriott, excuse me. But it's a break for Virginia.
34-yard line of the Wahoos, 1st and 10. It's 10-0 North Carolina. McCaskey takes. Antonio Rice has nowhere to go. Reuben Davis, Mitch White, and Carlton Bailey, who's been in on every play. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Virginia's in a situation here, Gary, I feel, with the exception of maybe running the fullback off the option play, that they have got to set up their running game by throwing the football first. I don't think they can go the normal route that coaches like of running to set up the pass. I think they have to reverse it.
2nd down and 10. 34-yard line of Virginia. Wide open and through the hands, just a little bit overthrown for Mattioli. He was out there. Walter Bailey on the coverage, but Mattioli had that Tar Heel secondary beat.
The read that time for Don Mikowski as Mattioli ran the fly pattern up the sidelines is the safety, Walter Bailey. He was concerned about Bailey being there to break up the play, so rather than putting a little more loft on the ball, he threw it on a line, and Mattioli just couldn't get there in time.
McCaskey is 6 of 8 for 63 yards. He's in 1 big with the downpour. 3rd and 10. And over thrown intended for Tim Finkelstein. Maybe he could have caught the football, but it would have been an outstanding grab. It'll be 4th down.
Just what I alluded to a few moments ago, Gary. Virginia has got to throw more on 1st down, hope they can get some yardage and set up 2nd and short situations or move the chains for 1st down. They are not getting the running yardage on 1st down, setting up 2nd and long, 3rd and long, and you just can't operate that way and be successful, particularly under these kind of conditions.
Lewis waiting for the kick of Joel Dempsey. It's 10-0 North Carolina, 13:41 to go in the 1st half. They set up the return. A floater that Lewis should be able to bring back at least a bit. And Lewis is really smacked after a 10-yard return. Number 47, Antonio Rice on the tackle.
Let's watch the kick coverage of Virginia. Lewis did a nice job of stepping around the first man, got through the initial wave. Watch Antonio Rice. Boom, what a hit.
13:30 to go 1st half. 10-0 North Carolina. We're at Kenan Stadium and coming back after this.
Welcome to the Silver Bullet, home of a cold Coors Light.
Hey, Timbo. Yo. Where's Nadine tonight? Hey, probably sitting by the phone waiting for yours truly. Give me a Coors Light, will you, sweet thing? You guys have a little love spot? Nah, man's got to have some space. Gotta show these women who's boss. Gotta zig when they zag. Hey, I know it's brutal, but a man's got to do. But Nadine.
Yo. Oh, she looks miserable.
Yeah.
No slowing down with the Silver Bullet tonight.
No possession is more precious than life, and no business is more rewarding than improving life. At Jefferson Pilot, we've spent over 80 years making lives better, richer, and more secure through our companies in insurance, financial services, and communications. The Jefferson Pilot Companies. We help put a brighter face on the future.
1986 Road Atlanta. The Nissan Z's are back to defend their SCCA championship. But this year they didn't just win, they dominated. Paul Newman and Jim Fitzgerald 1-2 once again in their 300ZXs in the top GT1 class. Scott Sharp leads the Z Parade in a 1-5 finish in the GT2. In all, 2 national championships, 8 top 3 finishes. Drive a 300ZX yourself. Know what being first is. The winner is 300ZX. The name is Nissan.
Gary Sparber with Jack Corrigan, Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions ACC football. North Carolina with the football. They've scored on every other possession, and this is the other possession. We'll see if it keeps up. They're at the 41. This is Derrick Fenner. Running behind the great block of James Thompson. Got a 1st down. Inside midfield and into Virginia territory before Mike Pettin, the free safety, made the stop.
When Virginia has tried to run wide, the Carolina defense has strung it out. Carolina has run wide. They have been able to turn the corner. And Derrick Fenner, who is well over 100 yards, bounds out for 9.
They'll say he went out at midfield, so it will not be a 1st down. 2nd down and 1. Fenner, 1st down, and then ridden down by David Briggs at the 44-yard line of the Cavaliers.
Tackled by David Briggs.
You were right, Gary. North Carolina's either turned the ball over or scored, and since they turned the ball over on their last possession, logic would dictate that this is a scoring drive, and the first 2 plays are an indication of good movement by the heels.
1st and 10 at the 44-yard line of the Cavaliers. Mark made a throw. Eric Streeter at the 28-yard line of the Cavaliers, and Pettin brought him down at about the 27.
Outstanding protection for Mark Maye. He's got lots of time to let Eric Streeter come down and run the pattern underneath the deep coverage and over the linebackers. Pettin and Cook are there, but they've got to respect the deep threat. The linebackers just aren't giving enough underneath coverage for Virginia.
North Carolina got 17 yards on that play. This is James Thompson, and Thompson is hit after a gain of about 2 or 3. It will be 2nd down and 7.
When you have some success running the football, as Carolina has this afternoon, then the play action is very effective because it keeps the linebackers in place for a while prevents them from getting a deep drop into the zone coverage. And then when you throw the ball to people like Streeter, they've got all kinds of room between the zones.
2nd and 7 from the 23 of Virginia. Fenner. All the way to the 17. He got another 6 yards, and they may have to measure for a first down. Jim Sanford made his 2nd consecutive tackle.
Take a look at Derrick Fenner on an isolated camera. Look at him picking his way through the holes. I think that was a great shot there of talking about a running back with vision. You could see him sort of keeping the motor in idle until he found the proper space, and once he saw the hole, then he accelerated and got good yardage.
Hey, James Thompson's been laying some good lead blocks on the Cavaliers. 3rd and 2. Fenner, I don't think, well, we'll see. I said 3rd and 2. It was actually about 3rd and 1. David Griggs made the tackle, and we'll wait until they unpile.
They tried to run a little counter action there, and David Griggs didn't buy the counter at all. He knew that Fenner was going to run the football, and he really scraped from the backside defensive end to drop Fenner shy of the first down.
Leading 10-0, Dick Crum, who has been somewhat field goal conscious in the past, says, let's take a shot. 4th down and less than 1. Now, if he doesn't make it, the fans will say, well, why didn't you kick the field goal? Here they do on 4th and short. Maye tries to sneak for it. I don't know.
They had to get inside the 12-yard line to pick up the first down. Or the 16-yard line. Hard to say.
If you're not guessing, I know it's hard to say.
Well, I had to wait for them to unfile to see them set down the football. It's still hard to tell.
Yeah, you're right.
We're back at about the 45-yard line. We do not have a good angle at all on this one.
You know, so many times North Carolina has had leads this season. I think Dick Crum is thinking, well, we've got the lead. Let's try to just put this team out of business for once.
Well, you're also in a situation here with weather conditions. You're going to take your chances trying to pick up the first down here because you may have more problems trying to kick a field goal, particularly since you've got a different deep snapper. He didn't get it.
Big play for the Virginia defense. The Cavaliers will start from the 17.
Billy Keys, who comes in short yardage at one of the tackle spots, was a guy leading the way there for Virginia. So the Cavaliers hold inside their 20.
Now, fans, come on. No second guesses on that one. North Carolina 10, Virginia nothing. This now for your local ACC stations.
This amazing display of solid fuel combustion is happening in a Tremont stove. Its advanced combustion system burns fuel not once but 3 times for maximum efficiency. At last, the romantic tradition of warm brass and beauty combined with state-of-the-art technology to bring you the ultimate in elegance, durability, and high-tech performance. Tremont ACS, the most advanced wood stove in the world, American style.
Available at Acme Stove Company, Charlottesville, Harrisonburg.
Have you always dreamed about owning a Nissan 300ZX? Well, right now your Nissan dealer says yes. With year-end savings on all sports cars. To make room for our new models, we're saying yes. With sensational deals on Pulsars, 200SXs, and 300ZXs. Yes. There will never be a better time to buy a Nissan sports car. All you have to do is ask, and your Nissan dealer says yes. But don't wait. Get big savings at your Central Virginia Nissan dealers today.
Seen exclusively on Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions. Gary Sparber with Jack Corrigan at Kenan Stadium. It's 10-0 North Carolina, but Virginia has to feel a bit better about things after stopping North Carolina on downs and now taking over at its own 17-yard line. Still better than 10 minutes to go in the first period. And on first down, the fullback Derwin Griggs gets about 2 yards.
They have not been able on first down to run with their tailback, so they are trying to back off the linebackers a little bit as you watch Wyke and Rudolph step into the hole by running the fullback out of the option action or throwing on first down. They tried the fullback and got a couple.
Duke is not going to go down easily. Tracy Smith has scored. Blue Devils within a touchdown. Here, Mikowski to throw, and through the hands of Kevin Morgan, who slipped down.
And that kind of afternoon for Virginia, they've been very close on several occasions to making completions. White takes his drop. Now Morgan is coming out of the backfield to the left of Mitch White. You can see he has problems with his footing. Had Morgan kept his feet, he catches the ball and certainly gets the first down. Instead, it's 3rd and long yardage again for the Cavaliers.
3rd down and 7. That's Darrell Hammond at the bottom of your screen, split wide, and Antonio Goss right up there with him. Makowski in trouble, and Carlton Bailey has his 2nd sack of the afternoon. What a game he has had so far.
North Carolina, as we've got a flag on the play upfield. North Carolina came with a lot of people. Dan Vuletich, the free safety, was blitzing. And basically what they did is they created a mismatch on the line of scrimmage. There were more people to block than Virginia had blockers, and Makowski eventually went down in the arms of Carlton Bailey.
And if Bailey didn't get him, Ron Burton was going to.
The flag is...
Oh, a face mask.
I was going to say it was in the secondary.
It's a 5-yard penalty, so as it turns out...
Makes it a 3rd and about 2.
Yeah.
Unless it's an automatic first down.
Grasping the face mask on the blue, 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Because it's only, yes, because it's only a 5-yard penalty. It's not the automatic first down here. And now North Carolina wants timeout because Dick Crum and Denny Marson, they want an explanation. Denny Marson, of course, the defensive coordinator for North Carolina. They wanted an explanation of what was taking place.
Virginia will have an important 3rd down and 2 when we come back. The Tar Heels lead by 10.
The way I see it, people used to know about nature, respected it. Then they figured they'd try to make it better. Take beer. Can you imagine why anyone would want to add anything artificial to something that just comes naturally from ingredients like grain, water, barley, hops? Neither can Coors.
With the new tax laws, you may have to bail out of some of your current investments and move into new ones because everything has changed. Interstate Securities can help you with an investment strategy that's in line with the new tax laws. And if you make over $50,000 a year, you'll need help. Interstate Securities, for a smooth landing at tax time.
A rainy day in Chapel Hill and a big play upcoming for the Virginia Cavaliers. 3rd down and 2.
It's a big play, even more to the point, Gary, that Virginia has had trouble running the ball. You'd normally think 3rd and 2 that you're going to put it on the ground, but Virginia has not been able to get much yardage on the ground, and perhaps they feel they're going to have to throw to get the first down here.
Hey, they got to worry about literally putting it on the ground. That's happened on a few 3rd down plays today for each team. Makowski doesn't give it to Griggs. Makowski still has it. This is Morgan and Walter Bailey with a big tackle. I don't believe they got the first down. Bailey is one guy who has been exonerated from whatever problems the defense has had for Carolina.
Makowski running the option. He's going to keep it himself, and then as he turns up, he sees traffic, gets it off to Kevin Morgan. And Kevin Morgan's got to realize, particularly in sloppy conditions, he can't go out there and give the double fake. He tried to dip inside and go back outside on Walter Bailey. He should have just gone.
Did not get it, I don't think. Nope, inches. Walter Bailey is the leading tackler on this North Carolina team. He has just had a great year coming off knee surgery. The coaches are just so happy with what he has done for them this season. There he is.
It's a great lesson there for the youngsters who want to run with the football. Sometimes a little too much dancing can cost you. That time, Morgan with the extra fake ends up being inches shy of the first down, and Virginia has to punt instead of keeping the drive alive.
Also a good textbook tackle by Bailey.
Without question. Not only a good tackle, but he also shed a block before making the tackle.
Eric Lewis is awaiting the punt of Joel Dempsey. There's Lewis. Back at about his 33. 9:44 to go, first half. Dempsey waiting for the snap. Didn't hit it real good. However, North Carolina will let it bounce. Really had no choice, and it falls dead just at about the spot Lewis was waiting for it at the 33, a 40-yard kick.
Going back to that third down play, Gary, that Walter Bailey comes up big for North Carolina. That's what they did not do last week against Clemson. When we talked with the North Carolina coaches yesterday at practice and earlier in the week, they all said that they felt they'd come in with a pretty good defensive game plan against Clemson. They knew they were going to be a good offensive team. They had people there who didn't make the play. Walter Bailey, on that occasion today, does make the play.
We had 2 new secondary starters as a result for North Carolina today. Mark Maye has a first and 10 at his own 33. This is Brad Locke. And Locke, with a clean uniform on his first carry, gets a big gain. Out of bounds at the 43-yard line of Virginia, the free safety, Mike Pettin, knocked Brad Locke out of bounds. 24 yards.
Well, you start getting Derrick Fenner conscious, and who could blame you with the first half the Carolina tailback has had. You don't expect the Carolina fullback to get the quick pitch to the outside. Brad Locke, with some good vision, pushed it to the sidelines and got upfield for a 24-yard pickup before Pettin bumped him out of bounds.
First and 10 for the Tar Heels at the 44 of Virginia. Fenner, Eric Clay, the safety, cut through and made the tackle. Very little, if any, gain, maybe a yard.
Tackle by Eric Clay.
Last week, Eric Clay turned in a fine ball game for Virginia. They took Clay, the free safety, the sophomore out of Richmond, Virginia, and brought him up close to the line of scrimmage and challenged NC State to try and run wide, and they were not able to do so, particularly with Eric Kramer banged up.
Second down and 9 for the Tar Heels. Brad Locke. Not a whole lot of room there for him. It'll be about a third down and 7. Phil Thomas, the last man to get up off the bottom of the pile, making the stop for Virginia.
The difference in the ball game this afternoon, besides the turnovers, has been that North Carolina has not been in this situation too often, third and long yardage. That's why they're leading it 10-0 and have the ball at the Virginia 40-yard line.
On a third down and 6. Mark Maye. No flags. Virginia was jumping around on defense. Maye now flushed out of it. Maye gets a block. And then Eric Clay brings him down. About a yard shy of the first down. A flag is down.
They're going to say the block on Sean Scott by John Keller, the tight end, was an illegal one. And Virginia, I'm sure, will take the penalty. They're calling it a clip. They're going to take the penalty because they want to set up third and long rather than fourth and about 2.
Yeah, I would think you'd be right.
You got to take the penalty here because Carolina would go for it, I would think, fourth and 2 at around the 35. It was one of those blindside blocks by tight end John Keller. He was very upset. He felt he had made a clean block. Generally, the official makes that call on the basis of where the blocker's head is. If it's to the backfield side of the defender, it's usually considered a good block. If the head is upfield, it's generally called a clip. I don't know if we can see it on a replay after Bob Carpenter makes the call.
Clipping on the blue team, still third down.
Now watch number 10, John Keller, coming out of the right side of your screen. Watch where his head is. See, it's on the upfield side. If he would have been able to get his head across the body of Sean Scott, it would have been a legal block. Instead, it's called clipping.
Excellent analysis on your part. It was very close, though. Third down and about 16. Fenner has a long way to run. He'll come up about 5 yards shy of it. Mike Pettin, the free safety, stops him after a 13-yard gain.
Phil Thomas also helping out on the tackle. Derrick Fenner gets a lot of it back, but not enough. So a very costly penalty for North Carolina forces the first punt of the afternoon, if I'm right, for the Tar Heels.
I believe you are right. Kenny Miller will boot it away from his 46. Tar Heels have been dominating the game, but Virginia's just one big play from being right back in it. This one is going to work out to be what? A touchback. Looked like that would work out just perfectly for Kenny Miller, but it took the bounce into the end zone, so it's 40 yards, but the net gain is very little.
You just made a very good point, Gary. for Virginia.
First and 10 for the Cavaliers at the 20.
It has been a frustrating first half, and we still have almost all of the second half of the second period yet to play. But they're still in this ball game because it's only 10-0. Carolina has only been able to convert twice.
Boston College rolling in the Northeast. First and 10, Virginia. McCaskey's gone all the way at quarterback. That was not John Ford's fault. That simply was beyond his reach. Derrick Donald covering on the play for North Carolina.
Chris Warren in the ball game now at tailback. They ran Warren underneath Ford as they tried to flood the right side of the Virginia defense. McCaskey just overshot his target.
So it will be second down and 10 from the 20.
Ironically, you said Virginia just one big play from getting back into the ball game. They put their big play guy, Chris Warren, into the lineup at tailback.
McCaskey has missed on his last 4 attempts. Second and 10. He will try again. In trouble, and down he goes, and can it be Carlton Bailey again?
He also fumbled the football. He was lucky to fall on it again as Carlton Bailey comes up with another sack. Watch as Bailey makes the hit here on Mikowski. Don has the ball down around his belt. See, he's got the ball down low. He loses the football. And fortunately, Bailey, for Mikowski anyway, kicked the ball back into Mikowski's arms, but a big loss of 16 yards, third and a mile.
Third down and 25 to be exact for the Cavaliers. McCaskey just got rid of it and gave it to Derwin Greggs, and Greggs is cannon fodder for the Tar Heel defense.
Guess who was leading the charge along with Mitch White? It was Carlton Bailey, and now we got a little brouhaha going. The officials and coaches come out to quickly quell anything.
As is the case with most football brouhahas, not a lot happening. Boy, Carlton Bailey has just been juiced up today. His third sack. They tell us he's their quickest defensive lineman, and he has really shown it today. But those are his first 3 sacks of the season. Ron Burton's been a big sack man. He's got 8. Tough punting position here for Dempsey, and Eric Lewis standing in Virginia territory waiting to receive it. 6:22 to go, first half, 10-0 North Carolina. Not a good punt. Fumbled around, and a good move by Norris Davis to fall on it.
Now we got more action going on.
Eric Lewis and Victor Bullock were confused, and now we have a fight on the field.
Well, Eric Lewis is going at it with one Virginia player. This is unfortunate, particularly since we got an awful lot of football yet to be played.
We are only in the second period, and coaches are in there trying to pull apart the players as George Welsh looks on. And there's not much, he's talking about a helpless feeling for the 2 head coaches. Neither one of them can get out there, obviously. Crum on crutches and Welsh in the wheelchair. And cooler heads hopefully about to prevail.
Well, you know, in the case of North Carolina here this afternoon, Gary, this is their final home game of the season. They took an awful lot of heat this week after the bad ball game last Saturday against Clemson. And as Coach Crum told us in the pregame and talking to some of the players, you tend to close ranks and rally around each other when you're getting heat from the outside. So I would imagine their emotional thermometer is up just a little bit higher here this afternoon. And they want to win big here this afternoon and win next week to try and take some of the bite out of this season.
Well, Jeff Garnica, the Tar Heel center, I caught him commenting on a local TV station yesterday, in fact, our affiliate, WRAL. He was saying that, hey, as we look at the call here.
Dead ball, personal foul, blue. Dead ball, personal foul, white. Disqualified, disqualified.
Well, we'll have to find out who the 2 players are that are disqualified. I was about to say that Garnica had said that the Tar Heels were simply embarrassed last week, and they felt they had something to prove to the fans, to the coaches, just to everybody. And as you say, there are an awful lot of emotions involved here.
Eric Lewis is the young man disqualified for North Carolina. He was the guy involved in one of the fights in the area where the flag was thrown. I don't know who he was fighting with for Virginia.
I've just been told Jack Eric Clay is the man who has been eliminated for Virginia, and that is a safety who has played well for them. And that is a tough loss for Virginia. So is Eric Lewis, but Eric Clay has been one of the stronger defenders for this Virginia team, certainly in the secondary. And Eric Lewis, they lose their punt returner, a kickoff returner, and a wide receiver. But obviously the officials have to take control. As you mentioned, we're only in the second quarter. They've got to get this thing settled down in a hurry.
Well, there was a little bit of pushing and shoving that went on after the third down play, and it carried over into the punt. And now, hopefully, with the disqualifications, the officials and the coaches try and bring a semblance of order back to the ballgame. There's Eric Clay talking to George Welsh, and I'm sure George is telling him, hey, emotion and enthusiasm is great, but you don't do me any good standing next to me the rest of this football game. Derrick trying to explain to Coach Welsh what happened, but...
Hey, if he just walks away, I don't think Coach Welsh will follow him, do you? 1st and 10 coming up for North Carolina from the 38 of Virginia, 6:13 to go. First half.
Let's see if we can come up with some of the things that took place during the punt. Carolina had a return on. Well, they're coming to the line of scrimmage here on this play, so maybe we can pick it up later. Maybe it's even better just to get it out of the way.
1st down and 10. Carolina leads 10-0. Mark Maye still your quarterback. Thompson and Fenner behind. This is Fenner. And Sean Scott brought him down after a gain of 2 at the 35-yard line.
Virginia with a little bit different defensive look that time. Billy Keys was also there to help out for the Virginia Cavaliers. They slid one of their tackles inside closer to their nose man to try and force Carolina away from that side. Boy, what a first half for Derrick Fenner.
147 yards already and a touchdown for Fenner. Maye completes it to Randy Marriott at the 29-yard line of Virginia. He'll be about a yard shy of the first down.
Randy Marriott, who will be in the ball game now with the ejection of Eric Lewis. Quick rollout pattern. Lewis does the turn in right in front of Don Bryant, who was playing as an outside linebacker on that play for Virginia.
Marriott was at one time a North Carolina Shrine Bowl MVP, and they'll name this year's Shrine Bowl players the North Carolina-South Carolina All-Star game on Monday. 3rd down and 2, and Mark Maye does a good job as a flag goes down to get the first down and get down to the 14. Now we'll have to see what the flag is all about. Kevin Cook made the tackle downfield, but we'll see if there was an illegal block or a hold or a clip or something that would bring the play back.
Well, judging by the way Jeff Garnica reacted to the conversation, it's not good news for the Carolina fans.
That's simply illegal procedure, but that's good enough to eliminate the first down and bring the ball back.
Excellent job by Mark Maye to first step up in the pocket, then secondly avoid the tackle attempt of Roy Brown and picking up what would have been a first down had it not been for the procedure penalty.
Here's the call.
5-yard loss for the Tar Heels.
Illegal motion on the blue. Still 3rd down.
Well, we went from illegal procedure to illegal motion, but 5 yards either way. It'll be 3rd down and 6.
Last 2 possessions for North Carolina, they have lost the first down because of a penalty. Let's see if it happens again.
Still Thompson and Fenner behind Maye. That's Streeter at the top of your screen. Quint Smith was at the bottom. Maye is looking at Quint Smith. Then he throws further downfield to Randy Marriott. What are they going to rule? No, incomplete. It'll be 4th down. This will draw the ire of the North Carolina fans.
From the end of the play here, Mark Maye, ball falling rapidly. Marriott tried to make the diving catch.
Can't tell from that angle.
And we had the same angle as the official on that side, and he deferred to the other side, and the side judge on the far side said definitely no catch. He didn't hesitate at all making the call.
Kenny Miller will kick it away. Kevin Gould is back deep to receive. He is their sure-handed punt returner, not going to get them a lot of yards. In fact, I believe he's fair caught every one he's had this year. Taking a long time to snap the football. It's
They were trying to hope that Virginia perhaps would jump offside.
Or perhaps just to give the kicker 5 more yards because they would not have gotten the first down even if they had gotten them to jump offside.
No, that's right. I mean, they don't mind taking the 5-yard penalty, and had Virginia been a little too exuberant, they might have had a 4th and 1 situation and perhaps go for it then.
Delay on the blue team.
I mean, you're right. It gives Kenny Miller more room to perhaps pin the ball inside the 10. But that's a real safe gamble.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He does hang it up there near the sideline. Let's see how this one bounces. Boy, Miller can't get a break. That's the second one he's had that almost went out around the goal line, but again, just a touchback.
Sometimes the guys trying to down the ball bang into each other. They had room to make the play here, but unfortunately for North Carolina, Sterling Hayden couldn't quite control the football in time, and it goes into the end zone.
Now, North Carolina's been doing a lot of moving of the football, but on the scoreboard, it's still 10-0.
One reason the cost of your company's group benefit plan may be so hard to contain is because it assumes everyone in the group is the same. But people are different, and so is the coverage they need. That's why Pilot Life developed the Flex Advantage benefit plan. Because of its flexibility, Flex Advantage can help contain costs without limiting benefits, and your people get more freedom to choose the benefits they need. Flex Advantage, another example of good sound thinking that works from Pilot Life.
A Wachovia personal banker. One person who has the knowledge, gets you the facts. One person who gives you fast answers, explains investment options, helps your money make money. One person who pulls it together, keeps things moving, follows through, and makes your banking easier. A Wachovia personal banker. The one who gets it done.
North Carolina still leading 10-0. We have 4 minutes and 27 seconds remaining in the first half. Now another game being played in this area of great importance to the ACC race. North Carolina State leading Duke 14-7. That game now at halftime. And Eric Kramer has gone over the 4,000-yard mark in his state career, and we're talking last year and this year. Kramer was a junior college transfer from Canoga Park, California. First and 10, Virginia. Trying to get on the board before halftime, and Chris Warren gets rude treatment at the line of scrimmage. Combination of the linebackers, Brett Rudolph and Mitch White. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Virginia has just not been able at all to run their tailback on first down. Now what has happened, they keep getting 2nd and 10, 2nd and 11, 2nd and 9, 2nd and 8. You can be the greatest offensive coordinator in the world. That's a tough play call.
It's 2nd and 9 here. Chris Warren and Derwin Briggs are the backs. McCaskey's still the quarterback. And McCaskey in trouble, gets it off to Briggs. Boy, Briggs is a load to bring down. First down, Virginia, and Jim York just simply could not bring down the very big load of Derwin Briggs.
Good play call by Virginia here. They've been getting an awful lot of heat from Mikowski. He gets a lot of heat here. Tim Goad right in his face. So you call the screen pass. Actually, Griggs never got to the screen blockers, but he just kept banging off bodies, and finally Howard Fagans brought him down.
First down at the 33, and there's nothing there for Derwin Briggs.
Well, they go back to the fullback on the first down carry, but Ron Burton was right there to stop it. I really think, Gary, and I don't like to get into second-guessing situations.
What?
Well, not too often anyway. But I think Virginia just has to throw the ball more on first down. They're just not doing it on the ground on first down.
2nd down and 9. Virginia on its 34. McCaskey turns it up on the option. Got by Derrick Donald, and Howard Fagans rides him down at the 49-yard line, and he ran the option pretty nicely that time.
John Mikowski, he gives you that kind of riverboat gambler style. You know, he
Virginia 49.
Watch the block here by Joel Dempsey on Ron Burton. Burton, that time, decides to shuffle wide and try and force the quarterback to run the football. That's what Mikowski did, but Burton just didn't have inside support. Virginia did a good job of cutting off the inside linebackers.
We're down to 2:35 to go in the first half. Virginia down 10-0 on 1st and 10 here. For John Ford was wide open, and Ford has it go off his fingertips. It would have been an excellent athletic catch, but it was off his fingertips. He was running alone.
Virginia with twin receivers to Mikowski's left. North Carolina in a two-deep zone, and you've got a space in the middle of the field, and Ford finds that space. Mikowski, again, throws the ball more on a line. If he would have given Ford a little room to run under it, it would have been an easier catch, and John might have been in the end zone.
Saw John Ford wearing those gloves. It's chilly today. Don't know whether that has any effect on him. 2nd down and 10. A little bit of a counter move to Derrick Briggs, and Carlton Bailey made the first hit, and a gain of 4 on the play. It will be 2nd down and 6.
You know, we talked earlier in the season about Mark Maye making the adjustment, and now we've got a timeout on the field as we've got an injured Carolina player. You see the Mississippi-Tennessee game in the second period, 7-6. Jimmy Rayburn, our associate producer, is not happy with that score.
Brett Rudolph is the man down. I said 2nd down. It would be 3rd down. At the conclusion of today's game, we'll be selecting a Poland most valuable player from each team. In addition to recognizing our 2 MVPs, are you listening, Carlton Bailey? Poland will donate a $500 scholarship to the General Scholarship Fund of both Virginia and North Carolina as part of the Poland Most Valuable Player Award Scholarship Program, and the Tar Heels have to be very concerned with Brett Rudolph down.
To finish my point that I started to allude to, a couple of weeks ago we talked about Mark Maye, and, you know, coming back off the shoulder operation and the shoulder injuries and all that, was not going to be 100% with that shoulder. We have to say here that Don Mikowski certainly is not playing at 100% after having the shoulder problem early in the season. Good to see Brett Rudolph walking off under his own power. So Mikowski doesn't have the touch that he might have had at the start of the season when he was completely healthy. Sometimes he doesn't put enough on the ball. Sometimes he puts too much on the ball. You're away from the action. Psychologically, the shoulder doesn't feel 100%. Mentally, you don't feel 100% confident in how you're throwing the football. Those are the things that have affected Mikowski last week and this week.
Here's what we have coming up at halftime. Another ACC Champions feature. A look at the scores, and Delta's 1 for the books. 3rd down and 6. Mikowski has time. And an excellent catch was made by Mattioli. Jim Yock covering on the play, but Mattioli really made a nice play. 1st down.
Mikowski straight back in the pocket. Good pocket protection that time by the Virginia offensive line, and Mattioli totally stretched out for a fine catch.
15 yards on the play. 1st and 10. 1:52 to go. First half, 10-0 North Carolina. Mikowski completes his pass to Chris Warren at the 27-yard line, a gain of 5. It'll be 2nd and 5. Howard Fagans on the tackle.
Warren was trying to get out of bounds, but Fagans with the sure tackle keeps the clock running down to 1:35. Virginia still has all 3 of its timeouts left. They need to put some points on the board here. They do not want to be shut out going into the locker room.
2nd down and 4 for them. They give to Derwin Griggs, and Griggs got about 2 or 3 yards. He'll be shy of a 1st down.
And Virginia uses their first timeout. They were hoping to get the 1st down on the running play and stop the clock that way. But now they're faced with another tough 3rd down call. 3rd down and short. They're within Jeff Gaffney's range, but keep in mind you've got a chopped up field and a very soggy field. So every time you kick a field goal here this afternoon, it's going to be a little bit adventurous.
There have been a couple of times during the game, I don't know about you, but I felt like Virginia was very close to letting the whole thing kind of crumble apart. Any kind of score they get here, and they're 1 score away from the ball game in the second half.
It's much like we had last week, in which NC State was totally out of it in the first half, and Virginia was leading 7-0, going to make it 14-0. And then Derrick Taylor goes 88 yards with the interception for a touchdown, and then the onside kick in which they recover and kick the field goal and actually have the lead at halftime. And Virginia's in a situation that the Wolfpack was a week ago. They put 7 points on the board here and get the second half kickoff. They're in good shape.
A year ago, it was a battle between John Hall and Scott Seacules. Hall is on the bench for North Carolina, the 2nd-string quarterback now, and Seacules the same for Virginia, although we may well see him before the day is out. We could see Hall. 3rd down and 2.
See if they go with the option to the left of Mikowski, the wide side.
Instead, Mikowski goes to the right and turns it upfield and gets the first down. Derrick Donald couldn't quite get Mikowski. That's what you get for listening to that guy talking into your ear there on the right.
Well, what he did, they were going to run the option, but he audibleized and went to the short side instead of the wide side. Got the first down, though.
First down and 10 at the 20. Mikowski now to throw. And he completes his pass to Warren, but no, Warren had both feet out of bounds, and Warren, you could see, was concentrating on the football, but was not giving any attention to where his feet were.
Well, that was a pass where you're hoping to get a little yardage, but you're really just trying to stop the clock. Warren quickly comes out of the backfield. He's open. Mikowski delivers it. Chris makes the catch, and the foot is barely out of bounds, but out of bounds definitely because there was an official right on the spot.
1:03 to go first half. Second down and 10 for the Cavaliers. Mikowski may run. Nope. Well, he runs out of bounds at the 22. That was just great work by Derrick Donald and Jim Yock, who had the intended receiver, Kevin Ferguson, all covered up at the end zone, and Mikowski just took it out of bounds, and it'll be 3rd and 12.
And a limping Brett Rudolph, who forced Mikowski, who looked like he was going to run the ball, to pull back and attempt to throw it, and then eventually he had to run out of bounds anyway.
Brett Rudolph, good to see him back in. 3rd and 12. 57 seconds left, as you see.
Safety blitz picked up.
And the pass is thrown behind Keith Mattioli. Mikowski may have worried more about that blitz than he had to. As you said, it had been picked up. Howard Fagan's on the coverage.
Danny Vuletic was blitzing to the right of Mikowski. He's picked up, and Mattioli is open. But here's the shoulder problems we talked about a few moments ago. And somebody got a piece of the ball as well on the line of scrimmage. It just doesn't get there, and so now they're forced to try the long field goal.
Jeff Gaffney with Scott Seekules to hold a 39-yard attempt from the right hash mark to get Virginia on the board and within a touchdown. Nice snap, good job by Seekules. A fake, and Seekules is totally ramped up. Well, I don't know what they intended, but it was a high snap. Seekules apparently didn't think he would have time to get the ball away, and Derrick Donald covered him up.
Yes, it was not a fake. It was just what you call a fire call by the holder. He makes the determination of the snap. Oh, that's what happened right there.
Yeah.
He never got it down. And then it's scramble time, and Donald and Fagans, who were the blockers, come in and make the hit on Seekules. It's a high snap to begin with, and trying to pull it down, Scott could not get the ball set up for Gaffney. He had no chance to do anything at all.
But Gaffney didn't get a lot of help that time. His snapper snapped it high, and his holder fumbled the football after a good job to get the snap. At any rate, 1st and 10. Mark Maye throws it to Fenner out of bounds, and it'll be 2nd and 10 with 40 seconds left in the first half.
Fenner just couldn't keep his feet as he was trying to catch the ball. His feet slipped out from underneath him and slid out of bounds.
So the Tar Heels now with a chance to put some more points on the board. It's really tough for Virginia. They would have dearly loved to get something on that scoreboard before halftime. 2nd and 10. As you look at Mark Maye, he's had some excellent performances since coming back from major shoulder surgery. And Derek Fenner gets up to the 40-42 yard line, and I'll be real honest with you, I was looking at Mark Maye, who is calling a timeout right now. Phil Thomas on the tackle. May fooled me that time on the give.
Well, they were hoping they would have fooled Virginia a little more
right.
and got better yardage for Derrick Fenner. Sets up a 3rd down and short situation, but the big thing here is to try and pick up about 30 or 35 more yards in these final 32 seconds to give Kenny Miller or Lee Armas a chance to kick a field goal or maybe get lucky and put 7 on the board.
How many games have you seen, though, where one team is dominated but just hangs around on that scoreboard? It can be dangerous later on.
This first half for George Welsh has been something he has seen all too often this year. With a couple of exceptions, Virginia has been a team that has looked good statistically, but has not been able to score. They have been frustrated, particularly in the first half, in terms of coming away with points to finish off drives. As you see South Carolina jumping out early against Wake Forest, 14-0. That should be a high-scoring ball game. if past records are any indication with those two teams.
Todd Ellis in that game has tied a freshman record at South Carolina with 18 touchdown passes as a freshman. 3rd down and 2 here. Mark Maye has a wide open receiver, but it's knocked away by Ray Savage, the linebacker. Ball might have been thrown a bit low.
Now, Mark tried to be too careful with that ball. He wanted to just drop it over the top of Ray Savage to John Keller, who was open. And, boy, you got to give Savage credit. He climbed the ladder to break up the play and make a good effort for Virginia. And Mike Pettin almost was there to make a diving interception.
So Kenny Miller will boot it away with 25 seconds to go in the first half.
They're coming after this punt.
They do not get it. They also don't get Kenny Miller. Chris Warren watches it bounce at the 25, and that's where North Carolina downs it with only 15 seconds left in the first half. A 33-yard punt by Kenny Miller.
Well, if I've got John Ford on my team and 15 seconds to go here in the half, I line him out there wide and let it rip.
All right, we'll see if that's what George Welsh has decided to do. Virginia certainly with not a whole lot to lose. They are 3-6 coming in. North Carolina here, then they've got Maryland yet to come. That's in about 2 weeks on a Friday, day after Thanksgiving. North Carolina next week has the traditional season ender with Duke. Tar Heels are hoping for help from Maryland later this afternoon, hoping they can win here. Maryland might beat Clemson, and if the Tar Heels would then beat Duke, they'd gain a tie for the ACC title. And State's still in that picture as well. McCaskey will just sit down with it, and that's your first half. Well, that will be your first half anyway, and 5 more seconds tick off the clock. Not the offensive wizardry that we've seen for much of this ACC season, but nonetheless, North Carolina on top by the score of 10-0. We're at Kenan Stadium in Chapel Hill. The rain has let up a bit, and we'll be back with halftime activities with the Tar Heels up by 10.
Oh! Just like that, this AC copper core spark plug can fire 30 times. That's the firepower today's high-revving car engines need. What about your plugs? If they can't fire for up to 30,000 miles, maybe you're missing out on peak performance. For the AC Delco retailer nearest you, just give me a call at 1-800-AC-DELCO. Wait for trouble, and you've got it.
We've seen the headlines. Now we know drugs kill. We've seen it happen. And now there is no good excuse for messing up your life with drugs. Drugs don't help you in the classroom, they don't impress the girls, and they don't get you the touchdowns on the field. Drugs just make you a loser. That's all there is to it. You're a loser if you're taking drugs. After all, you can't be a hit when you're high.
This message furnished by the NCAA.
Atlantic Coast Conference football coming your way Saturday, November 22nd. The Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech takes on the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Watch the ACC stars shine as head coach Bill Curry rallies his Yellow Jackets into action for their final conference matchup of the season. It'll be a battle for the final victory as star quarterback Mike Elkins once again leads his explosive Deacon offense. ACC football, Georgia Tech and Wake Forest, Saturday at noon.
And don't forget that game next week, the Yellow Jackets and Wake Forest. Mike Elkins will have that Deacon offense in high gear. Bill Curry's Yellow Jackets perhaps still with a shot at a bowl game if they can finish the season strong. North Carolina feels the same way, and they are leading it here at halftime over the Virginia Cavaliers by a score of 10-0 on a sloppy, chilly afternoon here in Chapel Hill. But it's been a good first half of football. We're going to profile one of the premier student athletes in the ACC. We're going to take a look now at Susie Tuffy. She is from NC State and NC State a cross-country champion.
You'd have to get up pretty early in the morning to get ahead of Susie Tuffy, NC State University honor student and NCAA cross-country champion.
Well, on a daily basis, running to me it's enjoyment because, it gives me a release from outside stress and different aspects of your life. I don't look at it as a job and something I have to do every day or I have to run. Right now I'm enrolled in psychology. What I'd like to do is eventually go into sports psychology. After I graduate from college, I think a dream that I've always had is to someday eventually, compete in the trials and possibly the Olympics. I know I'll always keep on running, but that's always going to be a dream that's going to be in the back of my mind.
NC State, athletic and academic excellence.
Since opening in 1825, the University of Virginia has been committed to excellence. Today, that commitment continues as UVA reaches new heights. The serenity of the surrounding Blue Ridge Mountains pervades Thomas Jefferson's lawn, the quiet center of a dynamic university. One of America's leading universities, UVA continues to increase the quality of education it offers, combining new and renovated facilities with the latest technology. The University of Virginia was founded to educate leaders in practical affairs and public service. Regarding community responsibility as an important duty, UVA constantly improves and expands its service to the state and nation. Long recognized for academic excellence, the University of Virginia's athletic program is also achieving national prominence. The University of Virginia, reaching new heights, committed to excellence.
Each week this season, we've been very pleased, along with Anheuser-Busch, to salute great student athletes here in the Atlantic Coast Conference. And this week, our ACC Champions feature takes a look at Festina Polk, who is a defensive standout for the Duke field hockey team.
ACC Champions, brought to you by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, brewers of natural light.
Duke field hockey standout Festina Polk doesn't actively seek attention, but she gets it anyway. When you're a good student, athlete, and friend, you simply can't avoid success. A 21-year-old senior pre-med honors student with a dual major in chemistry and Afro-American studies, V, as she's known to her friends, could be your textbook model for a student athlete, a person who loves her sport, but at the same time keeps things in proper perspective.
It's more of a balancing act. You have to find time to be over here into lab, to be over here into the library, to be at a certain time at practice, knowing that you're going to be there for 2.5 to 3 hours. It's just a matter of setting your priorities.
Stay with it, V. Thanks, V. Be there. Come on.
Polk's sophomore season could have been a total write-off. A walk-on as a freshman who worked her way into the Blue Devil lineup, she was forced to miss her sophomore year as a player because of serious hamstring injuries to both legs. Instead of forgetting field hockey and her teammates, she became the team manager.
She rehabilitated that year, and she still helped my younger players with different skills, and she stayed involved, and it's just remarkable that she has come back from a major injury to play her final 2 years at Duke.
Festina Polk grew up in Hebron, Maryland on the Delmarva Peninsula. Her father's a forensic chemist for the Ocean City Police Department. Her mother's an instructor at Maryland Eastern Shore. A close, caring family life has molded her desires to excel in the classroom and aim to become a doctor of pediatric cardiology.
I've been very impressed by my younger brothers and sisters' pediatrician ever since my freshman year in high school. And with the advancements that I see with the artificial heart in humans, and maybe to extend those developments to infants, I want to be a part of those.
While many people tend to look at life in complicated terms, Festina Polk takes the opposite approach, an approach which starts and ends with a smile.
I always want to be able to help someone without expecting any reward in return.
She's been an inspiration to each player. She is a truly remarkable young lady who we will miss very much.
ACC Champions has been brought to you by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, brewers of natural light.
A rainy afternoon here in Chapel Hill. Carolina leading Virginia 10-0 at halftime. We'll be back with more after this word from your local ACC station.
If you're ready for the powerful pro-quality alternative, listen up. That's an easy starting echo you hear. An easy starting rugged echo you hear. And it'll make a pro out of you. I hear you. Take it from Dick Butkus.
Echo, from the start.
Available at Blue and Gray Lawn and Garden and Woodson TV and Appliance Center.
Ever wonder where that green and yellow Chisholm oil truck is headed? If we're not delivering heating fuel to Charlottesville homes, chances are we're delivering gas by the truckload to gas stations or country stores and farms. Or maybe we're bringing diesel fuel to a construction site to run all that equipment. We supply oil and lubricants to heavy industry in the area and gas and oil to local car dealers. Or maybe we're just on our way home after a long day's work. Chisholm Oil, serving Charlottesville all year long.
Exclusively on Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions. 10-0 here at halftime. Virginia trailing North Carolina as the Tar Heels have dominated the action and lead by that 10-point margin. This halftime Delta One for the Books feature will zero in on a Virginia-North Carolina game. It was 3 seasons ago when these two teams met, with both teams badly needing a victory.
Delta, the airline of ACC country, is proud to bring you another ACC football one for the books. Delta gets you there with care. In late 1983, neither North Carolina nor Virginia was in good spirits. The Tar Heels, with losses to Clemson and Maryland, had gone from unbeaten and third-ranked in the nation to a team now badly in need of a win. But on this day in Charlottesville, Carolina was a 17-point favorite and ready to take its frustrations out on a Virginia team that had lost 4 of 5 after a fast start. Early in the second quarter, Tyrone Anthony scored his second touchdown of the game, and the Tar Heels were up 14-0 and having fun. And as the Carolina offense was grinding out ball control yardage, the defense was making life miserable for Wayne Schutz and company. Micah Moon on the sack there. George Welsh needed a major turnaround that appeared unlikely, but down 14-3, Schutz went 33 yards to Billy Griggs in the third period to draw the Wahoos within 4. But Virginia's unheralded defense was the key to this comeback, and strong safety Lester Lyles made the key play with a jarring hit on Ethan Horton. Horton coughed up the football, and Mark Wiley recovered at the Carolina 18. Virginia capitalized as Howard Petty went over from a yard out, and the Cavaliers led 17-14. 25 minutes still remained, but Virginia's defense stopped every Carolina surge, and in the final minute, Wiley intercepted Scott Stankiewicz to seal the win. Wiley and Lester Lyles, who had 17 tackles, were named co-defensive players of the week for their efforts. Virginia secured a winning season, a major accomplishment for George Welsh in his attempt to turn the Cavalier program around. This has been another ACC One for the Books, brought to you by Delta. Delta gets you there with care.
Richie Milligan.
10-0, the North Carolina Tar Heels leading the Virginia Cavaliers. We'll be back with the scoreboard and more right after this word.
Eric Streeter.
Bye-bye. I think a big brother taught me responsibility real fast. I take my little sister to ballet. I watched her grow up. And boy, the questions she had. I didn't have all the answers, but I was there. Maybe that's why I enjoy being a Delta Redcoat. I get a great feeling out of helping people. Only now, I take my daughter to ballet.
Delta gets you there. We get you there with care.
You stepped up to a 35mm camera because you wanted to get serious about your photography. There, the image is on the film, but will it be on the print? It will if it's Eckerd's UltraLab 35 processing. UltraLab 35 examines each negative for color and contrast. Prints on high-gloss Kodak paper for incredible reproduction, and UltraLab prints are 30% larger. Be sure that the image you shoot is the image you get. UltraLab 35 from Eckerd, when you're serious about 35mm.
Oh, all these IRAs are the same.
Did you know you could open a Jefferson Pilot IRA?
Oh, yeah?
You get high-yield, tax-sheltered interest, and you can deduct your contributions from your taxable income.
Same with these IRAs. What's the difference?
Unlike those IRAs, this IRA can guarantee you an income for as long as you live.
You mean these don't?
Nope.
Oh, yeah?
Ask about a Jefferson Pilot IRA. The IRA with a difference.
The Jefferson Pilot Scoreboard, brought to you by the Jefferson Pilot Companies.
10-0 here in Chapel Hill. North Carolina leading Virginia. Gary Sparber along with Jack Corrigan. And Jack, this game late in the season as it is certainly does bear some importance for the Tar Heels.
Well, the Tar Heels still have a chance, perhaps, of a share of the ACC championship based on what takes place here this afternoon. So they need to come up with a victory to keep those hopes alive.
Very similar situation for the Wolfpack of North Carolina State. They're taking on Duke this afternoon, a game of some relevance. And State is on top of Duke 20-7 as they play the third period. A North Carolina State victory coupled with a Clemson loss this afternoon against Maryland. That starts later on. Would give State a share of the ACC title. And then Carolina, by winning here and next week, could also share it.
Wake Forest is playing down at Columbia, South Carolina, and the Gamecocks have jumped out to a quick 14-0 lead behind their freshman quarterback, Todd Ellis.
Mississippi hasn't gone to the Sugar Bowl in a long time. They lead Tennessee 7-6 at halftime.
Sean Halloran has done a great job in recent weeks in reviving the Boston College offense, and they are cruising in the second half over Syracuse.
Colorado hasn't gone to the Orange Bowl in a long time. They've got a big task to get there. They'll have to knock off Oklahoma today. They're scoreless early.
The Ohio State Buckeyes prepping for the Michigan Wolverines next week, lead by 2 touchdowns over Wisconsin in the second quarter.
And Michigan trailing Minnesota in the second quarter. They better get their minds off the Buckeyes.
Freddie Akers is under a lot of heat with the Texas Longhorns, and the TCU Horned Frogs are hanging tough, 14-10.
And, of course, coming up later this afternoon, a 3:30 kickoff, a big one on the ACC, Clemson taking on Maryland. And that game, of course, has a lot of implications, not only for the conference championship, but last year's Clemson-Maryland game, the coaches up in the press box, suspensions at Clemson, a lot of distractions the teams have to deal with.
Well, without question, Gary. I mean, Danny Ford has had so much to deal with, and Bobby Ross has, as we have talked about in some of the Maryland games. It's a situation where almost the least important thing going on is the game itself.
Let's look at the matchup a little bit. We know how important it is for Clemson. I've got to believe Maryland feels not only do they want to get revenge for last year, but they can make their whole season and feel good about themselves if they can win today.
Well, those Maryland players remember when Clemson was ineligible for the ACC championship, and they really took it to the Terrapins, and those players are seniors now. They were freshmen then. They'd like to return the favor.
Now, Danny Ford, of course, even though he's going to be in the press box today, he's been preparing his team all week, and you wonder how he feels about the distractions and how they might affect his players.
I don't see how any young man could keep his mind on trying to win a football game with all that going on, and I hope they're a whole lot more mature than I think they are, because coaches and players like our main thing, rather than go to any bowl in America, would try to win the conference championship. I think that would be our biggest goal that we have every year. So I hope that we're mature enough to overlook all this other distractions and get our mind on that.
But before that, North Carolina wants to win here this afternoon to put a little extra pressure on the Tigers. We'll be back with more from Kenan Stadium after this for your local ACC stations.
Introducing a high-performance machine for your office. Canon's NP7550 copying system. 0 to 50 in 60 seconds flat. Automatically shifts to the right paper size. Zooms up and down. Does two-sided copying. From two-sided originals and sorting, all automatically. That's why Canon's NP7550 is the automatic choice. So step on it. You've got deadlines to meet.
Available at Virginia Copiers, your local authorized Canon dealer.
The excitement's in Medlin, Charlottesville's Lincoln Mercury dealership, where you'll discover an incredible selection of Lincoln and Mercury models. Our knowledgeable sales team will help you find the right automobile, backed by our highly trained service technicians. Test drive the renowned Sable, the impressive Mercure, or the elegant Lincoln. Visit our showroom and discover this incredible value. At Medlin, we know our business, and we live up to our promises.
During the early buy program at Sportsman Marine, you will save big on all 87 Sea Ray sport yachts powered by Mercruiser. In fact, during the early buy promotion, choose any 87 Sea Ray boat, Pay the lowest price of the year. Each is a classic in styling, appealing features, absolute luxury, all powered by dependable, smooth-running Mercruiser engines. If it isn't a Sea Ray, you've missed the boat. Complete financing, simple interest. Sportsman Marine, south of Richmond, 10,015 Jefferson Davis Highway, 271-8981.
Productions exclusive live coverage of this second half of Atlantic Coast Conference football is brought to you by the Jefferson Pilot Companies, helping to put a brighter face on the future. Delta, the airline of ACC country. Delta gets you there with care. Poland, America's chainsaw. First Wachovia, serving the financial needs of individuals and businesses in the Southeast and the nation. And by Nissan, who invite you to test drive the new Go Anywhere Nissan Pathfinder at your Nissan dealer now.
At the conclusion of today's game, we'll be selecting a Poland Most Valuable Player from each team. In addition to recognizing our 2 MVPs, Poland will donate a $500 scholarship to the General Scholarship Fund of both Virginia and North Carolina as part of the Poland Most Valuable Player Award Scholarship Program. Gary Sparber with Jack Corrigan. We're in Chapel Hill, where North Carolina leads Virginia 10-0 as you look at North Carolina quarterback Mark Maye. And we have 2 less players right now than we had when we started the ball game.
That's right. Eric Lewis and Eric Clay were both ejected after there was a mild spat, shall we say, after a Virginia punt, and both those men were ejected. It was a good first half for Derrick Fenner, who had 154 yards on the ground for North Carolina. 68 of them came on this play. Great lead block from James Thompson, put Fenner into the secondary. And when you put this runaway freight train in the open field, look out. Fenner outrunning the Virginia defenders. Excellent effort by Sean Scott to try and track him down, but Fenner with the balance was able to get it into the end zone.
Well, one statistic will tell you the whole story of this ball game so far, and that is yards rushing. As we show you the stats, look at that. North Carolina, 213 yards. Virginia 14, and by contrast, last week, Virginia ran up 324 yards on the ground against North Carolina State.
Virginia comes into the ball game averaging 175 yards a game on the ground, so you can see how much they have been shut down by the Carolina defense. But keep in mind, they are still down just 10-0 and have had some success moving the football. Several Carolina turnovers have enabled Virginia to stay in the ball game. Turnovers, as we felt, were going to be a factor in this game. They prevented Virginia from its best scoring opportunity when they fumbled on the Carolina 5-yard line late in the first quarter.
We want to offer some congratulations to a couple of members of our Jefferson Pilot teleproduction staff. Camera operator and tape operator, actually, Joel Eric McKee. And Kathy Cook, now Kathy Cook McKee, a very attractive couple who joined forces last week. Virginia takes the opening kickoff. Tim Finkelstein coming across the 25 and up to the 29-yard line, and in fact struggled his way across the 30, where it will be first down and 10 for Virginia, trailing 10-0 to the Tar Heels here in Kenan Stadium. That is Kenny Miller, who kicked it off for North Carolina. And there's Tim Finkelstein, the return man. They put the ball down at the 33, first and 10, Virginia.
Always love watching the first couple of series of the second half to see what kind of adjustments the coaching staffs made during their halftime talks.
First and 10. Still Don Mikowski at quarterback. John Ford in motion, you see. This is Kevin Morgan. And Morgan hurdles for a gain of about 2 yards. It'll be second and 8. Morgan had the first 100-yard game of his career last week. Carlton Bailey tripped him up.
In the first half, Virginia had an awful lot of trouble trying to run their tailback on first down. This time they put Ford in motion to give them even one more player to that side for blocking purposes, but Bailey upset the apple cart of Kevin Morgan after just a couple of yards.
Second down, 8 from the Virginia 35. Mikowski to Morgan, and Morgan slips down, and he'll be about 4 or 5 yards shy of a first down. The field's not in terrible shape, but there are some divots out there and some soft spots to be dealt with as you look at South Carolina rolling over Wake Forest in the second period.
19th touchdown pass of the season for Todd Ellis. That is a new NCAA freshman record for a quarterback.
Mark Herman, formerly of Purdue, is the guy who held it previously, now with the San Diego Chargers. Third down and 4 And Mikowski, who was under tremendous pressure from Ron Burton, couldn't get the ball to Derwin Griggs coming out of the backfield.
He was waiting and waiting and waiting for Griggs to break free, but freshman linebacker Steve Lowe had good coverage on Derwin Griggs, and Mikowski couldn't get enough on the ball when Ron Burton wrapped into him.
4th down and 4, so Virginia will kick it away. Now remember, Eric Lewis is out of the ball game because he was thrown out during an altercation earlier, so Victor Bullock is back deep to receive the kick of Joel Dempsey. Bullock will take it at his 26. He got about 11 yards out of it. Not a bad effort for Victor Bullock after a 35-yard punt. North Carolina will have it 1st and 10 at its own 37-yard line. Just underway, second half. North Carolina 10, Virginia nothing, and the Tar Heels will have their first second half possession when we come back.
Now's the time to vacation in Europe with Delta. We'll give you a free car for a week, a free hotel room for a night, and just $52 a night after that. We'll fly you to England, or France, or Germany, or Ireland. For prices in your city, call your travel agent. Europe at Delta.
Your Jefferson Standard agent is worried about you. He worries whether your current retirement plan will buy the kind of retirement you want, whether you'll be able to send the kids to school. If you become ill or disabled, will you have the right coverage to see you through recovery? Maybe you're not worrying about these things, but isn't it nice to know that somebody is?
Bill, it's all worked out. Well, I've got nothing to worry about then.
Jefferson Standard. Our business is your future.
Here's great news for truck buyers. Nissan announces the all-new 1987 hardbody truck that still sells for only $65.99. Here's even greater news. Nissan is adding a special option package to E-models. Sporty graphics, sleek outside mirror, fender flares, bright wheel trim rings, sliding rear window, and a rugged bumper. A $630 value at no additional cost. America's best truck value just got better. They're available now at your nearby Nissan dealer.
North Carolina State is doing its part to try to share the ACC title. They need a Maryland victory over Clemson later today to do it. 10-0 North Carolina, early third period. Mark Maye has the Tar Heels with a 1st and 10 at their 37. Derrick Fenner is hit behind the line of scrimmage, and down he goes. The hit was made by Don Bryant. He's played defensive back, played defensive end. A number of the Virginia players have had to jump around defensively because of injuries this year.
First offensive series for Virginia, they do nothing. They kick away and give Carolina pretty good field position. Now it's the Tar Heels' turn to see what they can do here against the defensive adjustments that Virginia has made since halftime.
Michigan got a field goal, but still trailing Minnesota 7-3. The battle for the little brown jug, they call it in the Midwest. 2nd and 10. Mark Maye. Eric Streeter said, let me turn around and see where I can run with this thing. Wait a minute, I forgot the football.
Rain is no longer a problem here. It has stopped raining, but it is one of those chilly, biting kind of days temperature-wise, and Eric Streeter just flat out dropped the football.
Yeah, I was wrong about that. He wasn't turning around. He just dropped it. 3rd down and 10 for the Tar Heels.
Well, as a receiver who dropped a few in his career, I can sympathize with Eric.
Well, I figured you were up here for some reason. Maye will throw, I would think, on 3rd and 10. After play action. Derrick Fenner has a ways to run. Gets a good block, and Fenner got the 1st down. Who got the block?
James Thompson.
Whoa, what a crunching block in a great situation for North Carolina.
And that's just hustle, too, because Thompson was offering pass protection for Mark Maye, and as soon as he released the ball, Thompson took off upfield and really popped David Griggs.
An 11-yard gain as a result. They never would have gotten anywhere close to that without the crunching block of Thompson.
It enabled Fenner to turn the corner.
1st and 10, North Carolina on its 48, leading 10-0. Derrick Fenner weaving his way to the 45 and down to the 43-yard line before David Griggs combines with Phil Thomas to bring him down.
Isolate on Derrick Fenner, who is on his way to a 200-yard afternoon, shedding tacklers and always with that forward lean, looking for a little extra yardage. Well, Carolina fans got to be pleased with the knowledge that there are 2 more years at number 12 in the Carolina backfield.
And they got a freshman, Torin Dorn, right behind him, who is just as tough. Second down and 2. James Thompson has open field running, and if Thompson could have kept his balance just a bit more, he might have scored. As it is, he got to the 24 before Mike Pettin brought him down. A 19-yard gain.
Again, when you have Fenner running well, you can then go to the fullback on the quick hitter. What a block by Jeff Garnica, and it was only Mike Pettin who knocked the balance off of James Thompson to prevent the Carolina touchdown.
Tar Heels on the move at the 24-yard line of Virginia. They already lead 10-0, 11:44 to go in the third period. Derrick Fenner to the 15, to the 7-yard line. Great blocking by that front line before Sean Scott brought down Derrick Fenner, a 17-yard gain.
Derrick Fenner one more time out of the I formation behind the block of Thompson and right guard Pat Crowley. And Pettin and Sean Scott prevent the touchdown, but Carolina doing what they wanted to do on their first possession. Put it in the end zone.
First down and goal, 180 yards now for Derrick Fenner. Maye lost the football. I think he got it back himself. It'll be second down.
See if it was right off the snap for Mark Maye. Yep. Just never got a handle on the exchange with Jeff Garnica. Unfortunately for Carolina and their fans, Mark Maye was able to come up with a fumble.
Pretty quick reaction by Maye on that play. It'll be second down. Virginia lost a football inside the North Carolina 10 in the first half, where this might be somewhat of a different ballgame. As it is, North Carolina looking to blow it open if they can get in the end zone here. Second down now from the 8. Wide open Marriott, but the ball was knocked away by Kevin Gould in the secondary. Marriott had Gould beat if Maye could have looped the ball a bit higher.
They go with twin receivers to the left of Mark Maye. And watch Gould react to this football. Nice job by Kevin Gould. He was actually more concerned about Marriott, who did the out pattern at the goal line, and Streeter goes to the back end. And unfortunately for Carolina, Mark Maye couldn't get it up there. Unfortunately for Virginia, Gould makes a good play.
Third down and goal from the 8. Very big play now. After play action. John Keller did not get a foot down. John Keller says touchdown. The official says, no, you didn't get your foot down. Kevin Cook on the cover.
John Keller, the former quarterback, so he has felt both sides of those kind of tough calls. Maye with good protection. The tight end running a corner route. Keller with a nice catch, and good call by the official. That left foot hit right on the line as he was coming down.
What a big play, because even if Legally Armors converts this field goal, it will still be within 2 touchdowns for Virginia. So they've still got a shot. This will be a 24-yard attempt from the right hash mark, the part of the field we were told that is kind of sloppy. Maye to hold. No problem. The kick is good. So Legally Armors converts. And with 10:13 to go in the third period, you look at this score, and we break for this from your local ACC station.
Buy a new car with no money down? You asked for it, you got it. Come to Charlottesville Toyota now and buy any new 1987 Toyota car in stock, and we'll give you up to $1,500 cash rebate to use for a down payment. Or make your own down payment and take advantage of this. Either way, you'll save hundreds on one of America's most trouble-free cars.
Quality. It's not just a car, it's a dealer.
Charlottesville Toyota, Pantops Mountain.
Allied gives you peace of mind. Sensitive moves, custom designed.
Relax.
Let your future ride with Allied.
Security Storage and Van Lines is your Allied agent in Charlottesville.
Computers, portraits, relax.
Let your future ride with Van Lines.
Let Security Storage and Van Lines custom design a boot that's right for you.
Relax. Let your future ride with Van Lines.
Call Security Storage and Van Lines at 293-9158.
13-0 North Carolina, still early in the third period.
That fumble on first down, first and goal for North Carolina, really prevented them from having the touchdown opportunity down there because they were forced to throw the ball on second down, and when that was broken up by Gould, they tried to have, or they were forced to throw again on third down, and Virginia very happy to come away there with just the 3 points because, as you said, Gary, they're still within 2 touchdowns of the lead now.
About all they've got to do now, as you looked at Chris Warren waiting for the kick of Kenny Miller, is show that they can get that ball in the end zone. They haven't done it yet. Warren starts from the 6. Accelerates at the 30. Boy, he put on a nice little burst of acceleration there, but didn't quite have enough room to get through. A 24-yard kickoff return by Chris Warren, Brian Causey on the tackle.
Chris Warren here is trying to let the blocking develop, look for the hole, and once he sees the seam, accelerate right there, and he quite nearly popped it.
First down, Virginia. They start at their 30. It's still Mikowski in there. He's gone all the way at quarterback. Mikowski will keep it himself and get 5 yards on first down. Brett Rudolph, the linebacker, and Jim Young, the cornerback who got his first start today, combined on the tackle, and a North Carolina player is down.
Tim Goad has got an ankle problem. Virginia goes back to the option. That's been their most successful running play when they have run the ball on first down.
And that might be why Don Mikowski is still on the ball game instead of Scott Secules, who really doesn't run the option as well.
See if we can see where Tim Goad goes down. He is right there in the middle of your screen, and yep, he got rolled into as he was fending off the block of center Tim Morris. To his right, it would have been left guard John Fetzko, I believe, of Virginia, who inadvertently rolled into that leg. And
for all the problems that North Carolina's had defensively, few put the blame much on the front four. Tim Goad and Reuben Davis, Ron Burton, and Carlton Bailey. Most of the offensive coaches you talk to in the ACC point to that foursome as about as good a unit as there is in the league. As Goad begins to hobble off.
They are already without Noel McCahern, who got hurt last week, broke his leg against Clemson. And now Goad, the way he is walking, is certainly not going to be in the action right away.
I had speculated on Scott Secules because they had planned to use both quarterbacks today, as they had in the past few weeks. Secules, a junior, will be back next year.
Oklahoma has now taken the lead on Colorado, 7-0. Cecil Gray, a freshman, now in at nose man, replacing Tim Goad.
Second down 5 for the Cavaliers. Movement and the flag. Chris Manier, the right guard for Virginia, designated by our spotter Tony Britt as the guilty party. We'll see if that's true.
Dead ball foul. Ball start on the wide 5-yard penalty.
Well, so much for the good 5-yard gain on first down. Here comes Virginia again. A second and long call.
North Carolina State adds 3, and they're comfortably in front of Duke. Wake Forest on the board, but still 3 touchdowns down to South Carolina. Second down 10 here for Virginia. Darrell Hammond in motion. Kevin Morgan. And a combination of Mitch White. And I thought I saw Kubi Columbo in there. I'm not sure if that's... No, it was not him. A new man in the ballgame, Donnie Wallace. Defensive guard out of Everett, North Carolina. 75 as opposed to Columbo, who would have been 95. Third down and 7 for Virginia. 9:08 to go, third period. 13-0 North Carolina.
Carolina has blitzed a number of times, but they're dropped off this time.
McCaskey, after a pump fake, great defensive coverage, and Howard Fagans picks it off. Fagans running laterally across the 40, and Fagans down at the 43-yard line. First interception of the season for Howard Fagans, who played it as well as you possibly can.
They slipped Chris Warren out of the backfield, and Fagans, the strong safety, turns just at the right moment to come up with his football. They've got Warren in single coverage up the sidelines. Mikowski underthrowing the ball, and Fagans turns and adjusts to it very well, makes the interception. Ran a great deal, but didn't get much more, but he did come up with the interception.
So North Carolina will start from its 42, already leading 13-0 when we come back.
To make chili as good as my ma's, you need Italian tomatoes, Mexican beans, and my Ma in the kitchen. How's it going, Ma? How's your kitchen? She's great. Knows just how hot I like it, and the tall cold one I like with it. Natural Light, the beer with the taste for food. Ah, this is the life. Get off the table.
Yeah, all natural, less filling. It's Natural Light from Anheuser-Busch.
Put a coaster under the beer.
A Wachovia personal banker. One person who makes the decisions, gets you the money. One person with the knowledge, information, options, answers. One person who puts the people, resources, and services of the bank to work for you. And makes your banking simpler, easier, faster. A Wachovia personal banker. The one who gets it done.
Atlantic Coast Conference football coming your way Saturday, November 22nd. The Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech takes on the Wake Forest Demon Deacons.
Next week, our finale of the ACC season, your Nissan game of the week, Georgia Tech and Wake Forest. Mark Maye for North Carolina gives the ball off to Derrick Fenner, and Fenner gets about 6 or 7 yards. We have 8:42 to go, third period. It is 13-0 North Carolina over Virginia. Ray Savage made the stop.
Scott Sequels has begun to warm up on the far sideline behind the Virginia bench, and it looks like George Welsh going to go to the bullpen. Bring on Scott here on the next offensive series for Virginia.
McCaskey is 10 of 21 for 101 yards. Mark Maye, 6 of 14 for 71 yards. He has a 2nd and 4 here. Gives to James Thompson, who gets the first down. Boy, is he tough to bring down. All the way to the 30-yard line of Virginia. Finally, Kevin Cook brought him down, but an 18-yard gain for James Thompson.
Thompson is a load, and as I mentioned earlier, you start concentrating on Fenner, and they run the quick little trap inside of the fullback, and Thompson, shedding tacklers, pushes it all the way in to the Virginia 30-yard line.
1st and 10 from that point for North Carolina. As you look at James Thompson's numbers, Derrick Fenner got nothing. Ray Savage, the linebacker, has had a bunch of tackles today. He had 16 tackles last week against North Carolina State, so Savage perhaps late in his freshman year coming into his own. He's out of Newport News, Virginia.
High school All-American at Warwick High School in Newport News. And he has certainly come on strong in the closing weeks of the season. He had 16 tackles last week. What a terrific effort.
2nd down, 10 from the 30. Maye with the pitch to Fenner, running behind Thompson. Fenner eludes one tackler and comes up about 5 yards shy of a first down. Roy Brown, the freshman out of Washington, D.C., who had been on offense much of the season, and they like the job he's done for them on defense, he made the stop.
Well, sometimes when you're a cornerback, you just have to take the punishment and live with it. Kevin Gould had to take on not only James Thompson, but also Ralph Pfeiffer, just to let somebody else make the tackle.
3rd down and 5. Maye will run with the ball. Made a nice cut, but Delano Tyler crunched him about a yard or two shy of the first down.
4th and 1.
Well, a field goal here puts it beyond the reach of 2 touchdowns, so I would think there'd be no decision to make.
Mark Maye rolling to his right. Cuts inside of Sean Scott, who takes a pretty good lick. Steps around a couple of people before Tyler and Phil Thomas and company stop short of the first down, and Carolina's going to go for it.
Well, all right, but a 39-yard field goal gets you out of 2 touchdown range. All right, they go power I on 4th down and 2. They give the ball to Fenner, and Fenner, I think, got the first down. It's very, very close.
He slipped as he was coming out of his start, and he never really got the momentum he wanted to get. It'd be a very tough spot here.
Boy, oh boy.
Carolina got a pretty good surge off the ball. Donnie Bryant with the hit, and I don't think he made it. Looking at it, granted, that angle is behind the 30-yard line. The fans are booing the spot.
Boy, I tell you what, I'd love to have those 3 points on the board if I'm North Carolina. Well, he got the first down, I think, yeah.
Half a football.
But since you said earlier in the game that we don't do a lot of second guessing, I will simply say it's first down and 10 at the 20-yard line. Although I think I second guessed. First and 10 for North Carolina. Maye with the give to Thompson, and Thompson grabbed by Rayotis Perkins, and we saw the strength of Perkins. Nobody's done that to Thompson all day. But Rayotis Perkins grabbed him and held him right in his tracks. Senior out of Richmond, Virginia, gain of 3.
Carolina, particularly when they have gotten down here inside the 20-yard line of Virginia, has put twin receivers to the wide side of the field, trying to stretch out the Virginia wide side defense a little bit, but they have been running the ball back to the short side of the field.
Second down, 6. Derrick Fenner didn't get a good grip on it at the start, and then manages to get back to the line of scrimmage and a yard or two beyond that before David Griggs made the stop with help from Billy Keys. It'll be third down and 5.
Mark Maye looks over to the Carolina sidelines for the play. Derrick Fenner getting closer and closer to a 200-yard afternoon. Yep, about, 2 yards shy, 25 carries, 198 yards for Derrick Fenner. But it's still just a 13-0 ball game.
They need some points to put it out of reach on this drive. Third down and a long 4. This is Fenner. Doesn't look like he has any running room. A flag is down. He got the first down, but I think they'll bring this back. I don't believe this will stand. It was a good effort, though, by Fenner to get the first down yardage. We'll see what the officials decide.
For the third time this afternoon, Carolina with a penalty on a third down call.
Holding. This will make it a much longer field goal trial, though they'll have one more play prior to that. Get it back to about the 24.
It certainly sets you up into a third down passing situation now. You're kind of tough to expect to pick up 15 yards on the ground at that point on the field. We'll get the call from Bob Carpenter.
25. Holding on the offense, 10-yard penalty, still third down.
North Carolina has totally dominated the line of scrimmage. Look at that. They're over 300 yards on the ground. Virginia with just 24.
And last week, 324 against North Carolina State for Virginia. But they're not surprised. They knew they were not going to run it that well. I'm sure they expected more than 24 yards, though. Third and 15. Maye has time. And it's picked off. Mike Penton. Can you believe it? Penton's up to the 30. Boy, we joked about it yesterday. We said he had 3 last week. If he got 3 this week, he could take the ACC interception lead. Well, he's got 2 today and 5 in 2 weeks.
Mark Maye telegraphed this pass all the way. He's looking all the way at Eric Streeter. And there you see Penton, like a center fielder, just stepped right up. All he has to do as the free safety is read the quarterback. Mark Maye on that play needed to look to his right, look off Streeter. He might have gotten Penton out of there and would have had Streeter open. But he looked at him all the way, and it cost Carolina.
5 interceptions in 2 weeks for Mike Penton. Back after this for your local ACC stations.
We at George Rennick Buick Isuzu in Charlottesville have the best all-season family vehicle. It's the Isuzu Trooper 4x4. 3 vehicles in one. A station wagon, a truck, and a 4x4. Priced thousands of dollars below any competitive sport vehicle. The Isuzu Trooper, the best all-season family vehicle. And at George Rennick Buick Isuzu in Charlottesville, you'll find 90 Troopers in stock. All colors, 2-door and 4-door models. All Troopers come with a holiday special, a free 12-speed bicycle.
This question from Hanover Custom Buildings. How would you like to have built for you a storage building, a garage, a workshop? Add an extra room to your home. Have an on-site office, a vacation cottage, a custom-made gazebo or deck, and pay 30 to 40% less than you pay a contractor to build it on your site. They're heavy-duty, quality, custom-built in Hanover to meet your needs, then delivered to your site. Hanover Custom Buildings.
Call 973-9515 in Charlottesville at 1515 Ryle Road between Bonanza and Putt-Putt.
Atlantic Coast Conference football, seen exclusively on Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions. Gary Sparber with Jack Corrigan, 13-0 North Carolina, 3:45 to go in the third quarter, and Scott Secules has made his first appearance of the game in relief of Don Mikowski at quarterback for Virginia. Secules gives it to the fullback, and Pat Tolan got 5 yards to the 35. It is second down and 5. Mitch White on the tackle.
We thought with the conditions this afternoon we would have a number of turnovers. We have had 3 on each side today. That's pretty appropriate, Gary, because on the season, as you look at Secules' numbers on the season, both these teams are at dead even in the plus-minus category.
Second down and 5. Secules' first pass is complete on a nice catch downfield. I think that's Mattioli, although as dirty as that uniform is, it's kind of tough to tell.
You know, you can tell he's wearing the dark gloves. That's how you know
all right,
it's Mattioli. Secules quickly back in the pocket. The little turn-in route, and Mattioli with a diving catch for the first down. Still have 3 minutes to play here in the third quarter, and as we have said, Virginia's still within 2 touchdowns of taking the lead in this ball game.
At the 48-yard line, their own 48, and Pat Tolan running hard gets about 5 more yards into North Carolina territory, and again, Mitch White brings him down.
We go to the fullback. Watch what happens here on the option. Boom. But see, that's what they have been able to do now on first down, the last 2 first down plays. Secules took a heck of a pop from Burton, but he handed it to the fullback in that part of the option. They've gotten 5 yards each time.
Nice to have you in the game, Scott. Second and 4. Chris Warren, Ron Burton dragged him down, maybe inches shy of the first down marker. It'll all depend upon the spot.
But if you get the 5 and 6 yards on first down, you can then come back to the tailback on second down because the defense has to play you a little bit more honestly. And Warren is able to get it out close to the first down. And if you're an offensive coordinator, you don't mind making the 3rd and 1 calls.
We saw Secules lead his team back earlier this season in Winston-Salem against Wake Forest.
He also, a year ago, led Virginia to an upset of North Carolina.
Yes, he did. 3rd down and 1 for Virginia. At the North Carolina 44, that's Darrell Hammond in motion. He will lead the play, and a great penetration by Tim Goad, and they don't get the first down.
Don't get the first down. They lost you.
They really did. Goad came across almost as if he knew the snap count.
Tim Goad, number 76, just overwhelms left guard John Fetzko, and he is in the backfield, stopping Virginia's attempt at the first down. They ended up losing about a half a yard.
Boy, that hurts. They've got to kick it away. At least I think they'll kick it away. They're set up to punt. Joel Dempsey is at his 42. There's nobody back deep for North Carolina. So the Tar Heels are not necessarily convinced. He better kick it now, though, and he does. A floater. It's going to take a very good Virginia bounce and hold up at the 8-yard line. North Carolina will have it after the 36-yard punt by Joel Dempsey. Excellent punt, just what he wanted to do. 52 seconds left, third period. North Carolina takes over.
North Carolina needs to advance the football. Virginia trying to play the game of field position right now. Had a little bit of success there. Moved the down markers up for 1 first down, and now they've got the advantage in field position, but they've got to maintain it in order to allow their offense a chance to put some points on the board.
Now, did he make the trip with you from Cleveland?
No.
Oh, 1st and 10 from the 9. Mark Maye's gone all the way at quarterback, gives it to Brad Lopp, and Lopp would just as soon have not had it on this play. He got nothing. It'll be, at best, 2nd down and 10. I figured it would be Phil Thomas at the bottom when they unpiled, and it turns out to be the freshman from Houston.
2nd and long now for Carolina, so the tough call has now slipped to the other side, and Carolina knows they cannot go 3 and out here.
You see the time winding down in the third quarter. It's 13-0 North Carolina. The pitch to Derrick Fenner. Boy, Fenner's done a nice job today. He turned that play into something by hesitating and waiting until something developed, and he's done that more than once. David Briggs and Rayotis Perkins on the tackle.
They don't get to be a 1,000-yard rusher in 9 ball games without having some great field vision, and Fenner has that.
13-0 North Carolina. 3 quarters are in the book, and we'll come back for the last one from Kenan Stadium after this.
For quality and value, it's always been Nissan leading the way, and it still is, with this $630 Value Plus package at no extra cost to you. Get this tough stepped bumper, sliding rear window, dual outside mirrors, and much more. A $630 package on king cab, long bed, and regular bed 4x2s at no extra cost. For a hard body, tough truck with all these extras, the name is Nissan.
I was 10 years old when I built my first model plane. I thought it was fantastic. Flew all of about 5 feet the first time out, but that was enough. I knew then I wanted to fly forever. It's a feeling, it gets into your blood. And after 20 years of flying with Delta, it's still there. Hey, I may never get you to feel the way I do about flying, but sure would like to try.
Delta gets you there. We get you there with care.
Your Nissan game of the week, 13-0 North Carolina on top of Virginia at Kenan Stadium. And there you see the scoring rundown. North Carolina got on the board early. The long field goal specialist, Kenny Miller, getting him on the board. Derrick Fenner then went 68 yards. And recently a 24-yard field goal by Legally Armas before we closed out the third quarter brought us to that 13-0 point. North Carolina has a 3rd down and 2 from its 17-yard line to start the fourth quarter. Brad Lopp, the fullback, Derrick Fenner, the tailback. Mark Maye to throw. He completes the pass for a 1st down. John Keller, the tight end. And boy, a very disappointed Virginia Cavalier has got to be the man who almost got Mark Maye, Don Bryant.
Surprising call here by North Carolina as they throw the ball on 3rd and short yardage. Keller doing an out pattern from the tight end position, and Maye stood in there against the pressure of Don Bryant, picked up the 1st down out near the 25.
1st and 10, 24-yard line, North Carolina. This is Brad Lopp, and Lopp is grabbed by Billy Keys, and he got about 3 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 7. Billy Keys is a sophomore, 252-pounder out of Washington, D.C. That is George Welsh, seated behind one of his assistants. And that is Dick Crum. Neither one of them will be entering any track meets anytime soon. I know that's cruel. 2nd down and 7. Mark Maye shot all the way at quarterback. This is Fenner. Got a great block from Pat Crowley. And Fenner in the open field. Fenner has one man to beat, and Fenner will score, I think. Yes, touchdown, North Carolina. Pat Crowley was the man who sprung it with a great block, and Fenner has his 2nd touchdown run.
And Derrick Fenner is now within several yards of the end of the North Carolina single-game record. I just had it in the back of my mind, Gary, as the play was unfolding. I pulled out the Carolina record book. 73-yard touchdown run for Derrick Fenner, 274 yards now on the day. The North Carolina record is 286 yards in 1977 by Amos Lawrence against who? Virginia.
I was wondering what you were doing with that book, but it paid off. Give credit to the freshman, though, from Hampton Bays, New York, Pat Crowley, number 51, who sprung him, as I'm sure we'll see on the replay. Maye will hold the Armas to add the point, and it is now North Carolina 20, Virginia nothing.
He's like a runaway freight train I mentioned earlier. You've got that big body, 222-pound sophomore. He turns the corner here. Good block up front. And that springs him loose, and now you're talking about a man among boys in the secondary. He's just shedding tacklers all over the place. Kevin Gould, the last man trying to hit him, and he got some help, Fenner, from Eric Streeter, although I don't think he needed it anyway.
Well, the hill just became a lot steeper for Virginia. It's 20-0 North Carolina. Back after this for your local ACC stations.
In March 1986, the Saab 9000 was put through a series of tests at Le Mans and Montlhéry in France. When it was over, the Saab driver said,
"I don't believe it. We built a 5-passenger Porsche."
See the 1987 Saabs at BSR Imports, 315 West Main Street.
CTS always tries to please. Take their fleet of 15 buses, designed for your convenience, like dipping down, so it's easier to enter. Plus stylish interiors with large seats and larger doors in the rear that won't close on you, as they're hand-controlled, and loudspeakers for announcing destinations along with larger signs in front. All designed for your convenience.
CTS, and you're going somewhere in style.
Alex Dotson Sports and Imports invites your car to come into their body shop and get in shape for winter. Alex Dotson offers free estimates, expert service, and competitive prices. Listen to what people say about Alex Dotson.
I'm in and out in no time, and the cost is very reasonable.
Very competitive. He's a very likable person, and I just trust him with my car.
And now enjoy special savings on our cooling system services, tune-up, and brake specials. Alex Dotson Sports and Imports, 701 Preston Avenue.
20-0, North Carolina now leading Virginia early fourth quarter.
A great running back loves an offensive line that gives him a little extra. Watch number 51, Pat Crowley. He is pulling on the play for Fenner. The left side of your screen, he pops the cornerback, Kevin Cook, and that's what sent Derrick Fenner off to the races for a 73-yard touchdown.
There is Kenny Miller to boot it off. Chris Warren back deep at his 5-yard line to receive it, but it's now 20-0 for North Carolina. Taken instead by Finkelstein at his 15. Finkelstein's going to run about 80 yards laterally here and get up to the 30-yard line for about a 15-yard return. And the tackle was made by Brian Causey for Virginia, and a flag is down as well.
Flag back around the 20-yard line, which...
There's Derrick Fenner.
Call, according to Bob Carpenter, was against North Carolina.
Tackled by Brian Causey.
Perhaps a personal foul of some kind. 5-yard infraction. They must have grabbed the face mask of a blocker.
We'll now learn.
Grasping.
Tackling by the face mask is the penalty.
He figures you said the rest of it, so.
Well, the question here is, well, now Bob Carpenter is going to let us know.
Grasping face mask on the blue, 5-yard penalty.
Only a 5-yard infraction because it was away from the ball. It was not directly involved in the play, but a little question as to what Virginia's going to do now. Down by 20 points, they're going to have to put the ball in the air.
35-yard line, their own 35. The man with the clean jersey is Scott Seekules. This only his second series. Relatively clean anyway. Wide open. I think it's Mattioli or Finkelstein. It's Mattioli.
Told you, the black gloves.
You're right, the black gloves. I got to forget the number. 33-yard line of North Carolina, first down, Virginia. Big play. 32 yards.
Keith Mattioli is a great story for Virginia. Walk-on, not very big, 5'11", 175. He's had a sensational final year of college football. That is about his third or fourth catch of the day.
At least.
His fifth. He's now got 41 on the season.
First and 10 from the 33 of North Carolina. It's 20-0 the Tar Heels. Seekules got as much out of it as he could, and it didn't turn out to be a bad gain. About 6 or 7 yards before Tim Goad brought him down.
Talk about a good day. How about 274 yards and 27 carries? Even in my mathematics, that's 10 yards a carry. There's the race for the rushing title. Keep in mind that Terrence Flagler has to play yet, so he's got a chance to overtake Mr. Fenner. Of course, they still have games yet to play, too.
Second down and 5, and there's not a whole lot there for Derwin Greggs. Brett Rudolph made the stop. It'll be third down. We have 12:34 and the clock winding down. Final period, Virginia 3 touchdowns in arrears of the Tar Heels.
NC State winning over Duke to keep their hopes alive for an ACC title share. And North Carolina with a 20-point lead on George Welsh's Cavaliers, trying to do likewise.
Well, the gauntlet has been handed to Clemson. Tigers will have to win the ACC this afternoon. It won't be given to them. Sequels going for the end zone for Maye. It's knocked away. A flag is down. We make an interference on Jimmy Yauk here.
And Yauk is really upset. Derrick Donald shoving him away from the official on that side. Pass interference, the call. Sequels is going deep for Maye up the sidelines. He is behind Derrick Donald, but Yauk is the free safety, waiting on the ball well. Good call by the official. Good call by the official.
I don't know what he was upset about.
Contact was made before the ball got there. It's a 15-yard infraction and an automatic first down.
Pass interference on the defense, 15 yards and first down.
Looking at that live, it was hard to tell, but the replay definitely showed the good call by the official.
State 2 touchdowns up on Duke. North Carolina 9 penalties now for 75 yards. Virginia only 5 yards in penalties, but North Carolina leads 20-0. First and 10, Cavaliers at the 13. Not much there for Derwin Greggs, only to the 10, and Mitch White on the tackle. As you look at Scott Sequels.
Certainly one of the things that the Virginia coaching staff is going to address itself to during the off-season in terms of their recruiting and in terms of their spring practice, Gary, is better proficiency on offense, finishing off drives. We talked about it today and earlier this season. That's been the real Achilles heel this year.
Second down, 8. Sequels under pressure. Guess who? Well, he got it off that time, and at the 5, and a touchdown, I think, for John Ford. Yes, touchdown, John Ford. Carlton Bailey looked like he was going to wrap up Sequels, as he's been doing much of the day, but Sequels got it off to John Ford, and it's 20-6.
A gutty play by the junior from Centerville, Virginia. As you look at John Ford after his 5th touchdown season, Scott Sequels stood in there, took a heck of a shot from Carlton Bailey. Now you will have Jeff Gaffney on to try for the extra point. Keep in mind with the 20 now 20-6 score, they can keep going for the single point on the conversion.
Gaffney adds point number 7. A lot of time left. 11:29 remaining in the game. Don't think for a moment Dick Crum and his staff are breathing that easily. It's 20-7 now. Virginia trailing North Carolina. We'll be back.
With the new tax laws, you may have to bail out of some of your current investments and move into new ones because everything has changed. Interstate Securities can help you with an investment strategy that's in line with the new tax laws. And if you make over $50,000 a year, you'll need help. Interstate Securities for a smooth landing at tax time.
The sun is always shining at Wild Dunes. It's where the good life is better. Wild Dunes.
Great golf at Wild Dunes, as low as $53.50 per person per day. For details, call 1-800-845-8880.
Come on, put some style in your life. The sun is always shining at Wild Dunes.
Virginia puts its first points on the board here in the 4th quarter. Scott Sequels is looking for John Ford to slide across the field. He is in heavy traffic. He is really wrapped up by Bailey as he got rid of the football. Ford made the catch, and as we've talked about, he's an electrifying player, and he got it in the end zone. Look at Sequels. He knows he's going to get popped here. He says, "Where are you, John?" Get rid of it, and down he goes. But I got to get up. What happened? End zone? All right, I love it. 20-7, and a happy Scott Sequels, who has hit all 3 of his passes since coming out here in the second half for 55 yards and a touchdown.
Now Jeff Gaffney will kick off. North Carolina's gone back to that 13-point lead. Torin Dorn is back deep to receive, standing at his 3-yard line. Talk about how great a day Derrick Fenner's had. Dorn was one of the most highly recruited tailbacks in the country, so they've got a good one behind Fenner. This one, when they go out of bounds, and they'll have to kick it off again from the 30 this time. Dorn is out of Southfield, Michigan, by the way. Look at that. Minnesota on top of Michigan, 14-10.
Well, of course, as we mentioned earlier, Gary, Michigan and Ohio State meet next week for the Big Ten Championship, and you know those teams are looking ahead to that game. They start practicing for that game 2 and 3 weeks before it takes place.
Well, the Bowl Scouts from the Fiesta and the Citrus Bowl are doing cartwheels over that score if Minnesota should happen to beat Michigan, since they want to get the number 1 and number 2 teams matched up, Penn State and Miami.
Provided that Penn State gets by Notre Dame this afternoon.
Right.
Well, Carolina knows they've got to crank it up again because Virginia's got some life, and Mississippi trying to keep its SEC title hopes alive.
Terribly, terribly disappointing season for Johnny Majors and Tennessee. Gaffney will boot it off. Dorn will start from his 15. And about a 21-yard return up to the 36-yard line. They'll actually mark him up to the 37. That is where North Carolina will have it, 1st and 10. Jim Sanford was the man who made the stop for the Cavaliers. I'm sorry, Jack.
I was going to say, Virginia will, I think, start to try and do some gambling on defense. They'll blitz a little more. They'll try and mix up what they're doing in hopes of getting a Carolina mistake to get the ball back to their offense.
Let's see if North Carolina goes conservative or if they balance it out on this series. 1st and 10. On 1st down, they go to Fenner. Fenner, been a good man to go to all day. Gets 9 more yards before David Cardenas brought him down. It'll be 2nd down and 1.
David Cardenas in the ball game, replacing Kevin Cook. Cook had a slight concussion last week against NC State, and after getting popped by Pat Crowley on Fenner's 73-yard run, perhaps it's acting up a little bit again.
2nd and 1. Fenner not far from 300 yards on the day. This is James Thompson, gets a 1st down to keep the chains moving at the 49-yard line of Virginia.
Carolina is nearing 400 yards on the ground as a team.
Carolina is number 2 in the ACC in rushing offense. They've done well on the ground. They haven't always converted it, though. They're 5th in scoring offense. That's Quint Smith on the North Carolina sideline. And I guess they were trying to show us Dick Crum, but...
Somebody said, hey, Quint, back up a little bit. So I said, oh, okay.
That's right. We've got people all over this place. 1st down and 10. This is Derrick Fenner. Fenner got about 2 more yards. It'll be 2nd and 8. And the tackle was made by Roy Brown, the freshman out of Washington, D.C.
Which tells you the Carolina record for a single game running the football, 286 yards, 1977 by Amos Lawrence. And Mr. Fenner needs about 3 or 4 more yards, 3 more yards to be the new man in that category for the Tar Heels.
10:23 left to go, winding down, 2nd down and 8 for North Carolina. Fenner again to the 45-yard line, and a big play coming up. It will be 3rd down and 5, and if North Carolina doesn't get the 1st down, well, then Virginia will get the ball back with still about 10 minutes remaining.
Well, I had the privilege, Gary, when I played college football, to be in the same team with Ed Marinero when he set the NCAA records at that time. I tell you, when you are playing with a great athlete, and a guy like Fenner definitely fits that category, has now set the new record for Carolina, he gives you a boost. You just are so impressed by their abilities.
3rd down 5. Mark Maye after play action. No, he gave it to Fenner. It kind of went nowhere. 4th down. The tackle made by Sean Scott. Clock moving with 9.5 to go. Enough time for the Cavaliers, who are down 13, but will get the ball back.
Well, obviously, from Carolina's point of view, they wanted to get the 1st down on the ground. They wanted to keep the clock rolling. They wanted to wear down the Virginia defense. Unfortunately, people like Sean Scott had other ideas, and Virginia comes up with a big defensive play, and they at least keep their hopes alive.
Kenny Miller will punt. Kevin Gould is back deep to receive. Gould lets it go. And Carolina finally downs one of those Kenny Miller punts inside the 5-yard line. They have been threatening to do that all day. Number 34 for North Carolina.
Richie Milligan was the guy who first touched it. He actually made first contact with the ball out at the 6-yard line, so that's where they will spot it. But they have really backed up Virginia.
North Carolina is 94 yards away. It's 20-7. North Carolina leads it over Virginia.
To make chili as good as my ma's, you need Italian tomatoes, Mexican beans, and my Ma in the kitchen. How's it going, Ma? How's your kitchen? She's great. Knows just how hot I like it, and the tall cold one I like with it. Natural Light, the beer with the taste for food. Ah, this is the life. Yeah, the table.
Yeah, all natural, less filling. It's Natural Light from Anheuser-Busch.
Put a coaster under the beer.
A Wachovia personal banker. One person who has the knowledge, gets you the facts. One person who gives you fast answers, explains investment options, helps your money make money. One person who pulls it together, keeps things moving, follows through, and makes your banking easier. A Wachovia personal banker. The one who gets it done.
Atlantic Coast Conference football coming your way Saturday, November 22nd. The Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech takes on the Wake Forest Demon Deacons.
Next week, Georgia Tech and Wake Forest, and boy, what John Curry has done with the Rambling Wreck. All young players early in the year having their problems, but now they're a couple of games above 500. We knew he had the talent. They've really gotten it going.
They got some bowl hopes yet.
First and 10, Virginia here at their 6-yard line. They're 13 points down, still most of the fourth quarter to go. About a 5-yard gain for Derwin Briggs on first down. 8:48 left to go in the ball game. Ron Burton on the stop there for North Carolina.
The clock a definite factor now for Virginia because of the field position. It's really going to dictate what they're going to call here. They've got to go for the bigger plays. They can't afford to do this in 5, 6, or 7-yard chunks. They got to think in terms of 15, 20, 25-yard plays.
Scott Seekules has thrown a touchdown pass to John Ford. He has a second down and 6 here. He's going for Ford again, and Ford can get called for offensive pass interference. There will be no, there's the flag. It was a very obvious offensive pass interference call. Derrick Donald upset for North Carolina that the flag didn't come down sooner.
Derrick Donald with good coverage. We saw a couple of weeks ago when James Milling outran the Carolina coverage. I tell you what, I mean, it's an inadvertent bump. You could have people going the other way with that one, too, because Donald really was impeding Ford's progress up the field.
Inadvertently, he took his two arms and pushed him away.
But first there was the contact between the two players, and then the push.
All right.
Granted, that's
we're not going to get into another one this week. Maybe we can see it again.
I might have gone with a no call there.
I thought it was a good call.
Offensive pass interference, half the distance, and loss of down. It's
Killer
third down.
Watch the contact again as Ford, well, we're not really going to be able to tell as well as from our other angles. See, as Ford's trying to get upfield, Donald cuts him off, and then that's when the contact came about.
Third down and long for Virginia. Seekules has the pass complete to Mattioli, and Mattioli has a first down at the 25-yard line, and Virginia's hopes stay alive on a 19-yard completion.
Well, a clutch receiver, Keith Mattioli, has been all afternoon on a day in which the conditions have been less than ideal. I don't think he's dropped the ball all afternoon.
There is a final score. Eric Kramer has set a new school passing record at North Carolina State, 43-46. That's a lot of yards. And State still alive for a share of the ACC crown if Maryland knocks off Clemson later today. Seekules, quick pass to Kevin Ferguson. Ferguson in the open field and across the 40 and down to the 35-yard line of North Carolina.
Great play call by the Virginia offensive staff. They had been running the fullback on the dives on first down. Now they run the dump pass. You fake the dive and dump it to the tight end on the backside. A 41-yard pass. Walter Bailey finally chases down Kevin Ferguson. But now you got a much different perspective on this ball game.
You got a very different perspective. 35-yard line of North Carolina, midway through the fourth period. If Virginia cashes in here, they've got a shot. Sequel has time. Wide open. Great catch where there's a flag down. Darrell Hammond caught the ball, but there's a flag down back in the area where holding might turn out to be the call.
Virginia's had only one penalty off all afternoon, but this one's going to hurt.
Holding it is. And rather than a first down at the 15 or around the 15, Virginia instead will have a 1st and 20 from about the 45.
See if we can pick up the penalty as it took place. The flag came right at the end of the play. Watch the right side of your screen. Tim Goad, the nose man, tried to work to that side, and they apparently detected somebody with a handle on Tim Goad, so it negates, sorry about that, Bob, it negates the good catch by Darrell Hammond down inside the 20.
1st and 20, 45-yard line of North Carolina, 20-7. The Tar Heels lead by 13. 7:22 to go in the game. Sequel wide open again. John Ford and Ford at the 23, and Virginia receivers now. All they're going to say, he didn't catch the football. He did not catch the football, but that doesn't change the fact that Virginia receivers in this fourth quarter are just running free.
Well, they were in the two deep coverage that time, and Sequels did a good job of throwing this ball between the short man and the deep man. John Ford tried to make the diving catch. So you have the two deep safeties and the cornerbacks underneath, and there's the bubble in the middle. And Ford short hopped that one.
Sequels 5 of 7 for 116 yards and a touchdown. Pressure on him, though, here with 2nd down and 20. Got to make something out of this drive. With time, he completes it to Warren, but this play will get only about a yard, if that. Howard Fagans took Warren out of bounds, just figuring that the big play type performer, Warren, if you isolate him outside, maybe he'll make something of it, but Fagans did a good job.
He was just the release man on the play, Warren. Sequels had nobody upfield because Carolina's secondary had good coverage. He threw it to Warren, and as you said, hoping maybe he could make something out of it, but he had little room to operate and had Howard Fagans right in his face.
Here's a 3rd down and 19. You see Virginia's percentage on conversions. That's not really all that terrible, but right here, they just plain have to make this one. Sequels with Ron Burton putting pressure on, and it's picked off by Jim Yock. Yock back to the 34-yard line. Or Dan Vuletich, excuse me. Dan Vuletich, the freshman out of Ann Arbor, Michigan, made the interception, not Yock.
Carlton Bailey and Ron Burton all afternoon have been putting tremendous heat on the Virginia quarterbacks, and the pressure up front causes the interception again. That was Ron Burton who forced Sequels to throw the ball wide. The interception by Vuletich, and Carolina in the driver's seat.
Also, Mitch White hobbling off the field, but Carolina has it back.
Pilot Life presents the Gene and Leo Sklodowski Financial Plan.
To meet individual needs,
The Joanne and Byron West Financial Plan.
a financial plan has to respond to individual differences.
The Allison Blaine Financial Plan.
Not just different goals, but differences in personal style and attitude. That's why a Pilot Life representative doesn't design any two financial plans exactly the same. And that's why they all work.
Cynthia Booth Financial Plan.
Here's great news for truck buyers. Nissan announces the all-new 1987 hardbody truck that still sells for only $65.99. Here's even greater news. Nissan is adding a special option package to E-models. Sporty graphics, sleek outside mirror, fender flares, bright wheel trim rings, sliding rear window, and a rugged bumper. A $630 value at no additional cost. America's best truck value just got better.
They're available now at your nearby Nissan dealer.
Atlantic Coast Conference football coming your way Saturday, November 22nd. The Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech takes on the Wake Forest Demon Deacons.
Next week, we'll be in Winston-Salem, Georgia Tech, and Wake Forest.
The looking forward to getting one more look at Mike Elkins. What a sophomore year he's had. There's Dan Vuletic, who made the interception. His dad, Milan, used to be on the coaching staff at Michigan. He's now the defensive coordinator at Rice.
First down and 10 at the 35 for North Carolina. Under 7 minutes to go, and they're going to run some clock. Derrick Fenner slipped. Ended up getting about, 2 or 3 yards. It'll be second down and about 7, and Roy Brown made the stop for Virginia. They'll mark the football at the 37, second down and 8. North Carolina State has won today over Duke by 2 touchdowns, so State needs a victory. Well, Derrick Fenner apparently has passed a major milestone. I missed the announcement, but I think Zach has it.
Well, that was the single season, or single game record. He now has 288 yards rushing on the day.
Second down, 8. James Thompson, I believe, got a couple of yards up to the 45. No, Brad, was it Lop?
Yeah, Brad Lop.
And fullback. As met Jim Sanford on the stop. And there it is, 288 yards, a single game rushing record for Derrick Fenner. Not bad for a guy who, was late to practice a couple of times this week. I think Dick Crum will forgive him now.
I think Dick's going to find him a chauffeur or something to make sure he gets there on time.
Third down and 5. After play action to Fenner. Pass to Keller, and Keller did not get the first down.
Well, they're going to give him the progress to the first down. They're going to say his forward progress took him to the 45, and that'll give him the first down. Third and about 5. Carolina with play action looking for the safety pass. Keller underneath the coverage. Whacked right as he caught the ball, but this ball is right on my line, and he's not going to get it by much, but he's got the first down.
Yep. First down. Big game in the Southeast Conference. Look at Tennessee leading Mississippi by 13 in the fourth quarter. Mississippi was trying to go to the Sugar Bowl, possibly. Now Minnesota trying to knock Michigan out of a possible Rose Bowl appearance and national championship contention, but that's only in the third quarter. It's going to be a while before they decide that little brown jug battle today. I mentioned earlier, State has won. If Carolina goes on to win here, then those two teams will root for Maryland today. Hope they knock off Clemson. State would then at least share the title, and Carolina could share the title if they beat Duke next week. The give to Fenner, and Fenner gets about 10 more yards inside the 45 of Virginia.
Now you're talking about a 300-yard day for Derrick Fenner.
Right about.
Should put him at, what, about 299?
298, 299, yeah. Of course, all the speculation we've done about the Clemson game this afternoon. If Clemson wins the game, that's it. They're the undisputed ACC champions. 300 yards on the money for Derrick Fenner. First one ever to do that as a Tar Heel. First and 10. Here's Fenner adding to that total with 5 more, or 4 more anyway. Second down and 6.
You know,
tackle made by David Griggs. Sorry,
excuse me. We're talking about Carolina and State still having hopes of a share of the ACC title. Now, if Clemson goes on and beats Maryland this afternoon and wins it, these games today were still important for both Carolina and State, as will be the games next week, because if Carolina finishes 7-3-1, if State finishes 8-2-1, you know they're going to go to bowl games as well.
Dick Crum told us yesterday that he doesn't really like the idea too much of going to a bowl with 6 victories, as they give us to Thompson, and Thompson got about a yard or 2, and Jim Sanford again on the stop. Now, he would have to make that decision, obviously, when and if the invitation came, if they lost next week, but he would very much just like to win next week, and then with a 7-3-1 season, be happy to take a bowl invitation.
There were no bowl scouts here this afternoon, but I was told that there was some conversation yesterday with the North Carolina Athletic Department and the Hall of Fame bowl officials, and I would think if the Heels finish at 7-3-1, they certainly would deserve a bowl appearance.
As you look at the timeout situation, the way things are here today, Tampa, Florida looks pretty good. Third down and 4. This is Fenner. And Fenner gets the first down, and Fenner is tripped up at the 21-yard line by Mike Pettin, or he might have had another score and another big gainer. As it was, he got 17 yards.
Derrick Fenner from Oxon Hill, Maryland, is a stud. let's be real blunt about it. This young man has got all the tools you would want to have in a tailback. Great speed, great vision on the field, very good size. And how about 320 yards on the afternoon? You know, people say that, well, Carolina too much of a tailback offense. You got a kid like that, I don't blame him.
21-yard line of Virginia, first down and 10. James Thompson got 4 yards. Second down and 6. And now 2:56 remains to be played. Ray Otis Perkins on the
We've talked today about the very young Virginia team and how George Welsh and his staff are hopeful that the learning process this year pays off in 87 and beyond. Keep in mind, too, with this Carolina team, there are not a lot of senior ball players in key positions on this team. You've got Mark Maye back, you've got Thompson back, you've got Fenner back.
Absolutely, they're almost all juniors and sophomores. Second down and 6. Fenner just adding to that record on almost every play now, got 3 or 4 more.
You go to the offensive line, and Harris Barton, of course, the great offensive tackle. He's the only senior on the offensive line. So you'll bring back people like Pfeiffer and Garnica and Crowley and Creighton Incorminius and Darrell Hamilton as well. Look at that, 446 yards on the ground this afternoon for North Carolina.
That's got to be somewhere approaching a team record for yards rushing in a game.
Well, let's get the book out again and check.
I think we have time, yeah. 1:48 to go. Third down and 2. Fenner. Nice move by him to drive ahead for the first down at the 10-yard line, and that should give, well, Virginia's going to prolong the inevitable by calling a timeout here. Well, they stopped the clock to move the chains. We'll see if Virginia uses its timeouts.
Well, they got a ways to go before they can get that.
There's your North Carolina Poland player of the game, Derrick Fenner. Outstanding performance by him. Fenner with 320 yards when we last checked. I bet he's around, 320? We're getting it right now. 328 yards for Derrick Fenner. And Keith Mattioli, who's had a great ball game for Virginia with 6 receptions and 109 yards, your Poland player of the game for Virginia. And Poland will donate a $500 scholarship to the General Scholarship Fund of both Virginia and North Carolina as part of the Poland Most Valuable Player Award Scholarship Program. Poland, America's chainsaw.
Well, almost as much as our anticipation each week about the game we were going to do on Saturday afternoon, we would always wait for our director, Jim Dussel, to arrive and say, well, has the baby been born yet? Well, finally, Catherine Helene Dussel entered the world last weekend, and we are proud to show you that little sweetheart and congratulate Jim and his wife and wish them all the best with their new daughter. Well, there must be something about North Carolina running the ball against Virginia, Gary. We talked about Derrick Fenner setting the new single-game record with the 320-plus yards on the afternoon, breaking Amos Lawrence's record of 286 that he set against Virginia. One day in 1943 for the Carolina Tar Heels against Virginia, as a team, they ran for 555 yards. They must just like putting it on the ground against that orange jersey of,
I suppose,
Virginia.
First time North Carolina will have beaten Virginia in the 4-year period. They've had 2 Virginia victories and 1 tie in the last 3 years. Virginia hasn't won, though, at Chapel Hill since 1968. They obviously won't win today, as you look at Ray Savage, who's had a pretty good ball game for Virginia.
That young man's going to be a very fine football player.
Ray Savage, number 56, he was the Indians player.
Today has been a tough day. I think this afternoon, really reflects how the year has been for Virginia. They've had trouble stopping people on defense, and they've had trouble finishing off the drives on offense.
And moving people out with their offensive line.
That's right.
George Welsh knows it. He told us yesterday, though, he's got a couple of freshman offensive linemen, true freshmen, who he puts up there in the class with Jim Dabrowski and the folks who graduated last year, and that was some unit that left Virginia.
Yeah, there's a couple of redshirt people who are certainly going to put the pressure on next year on that offensive front for Virginia. And they've got most of their people back. Bukowski will be gone and Mattioli will be gone, but everybody else returns of consequence. Antonio Rice is also going to graduate.
1:23 to go here. It's 1st and 10 for North Carolina. Mark Maye's got all the way at quarterback. He's still there. Derrick Fenner. This time, not a whole lot there for him. May have lost a yard. Roy Brown on the tackle. Jim Sanford helping out. There'll be less than a minute to go when this next play begins.
So once again, the attention turns northward up to Baltimore, Maryland, where in about 15 minutes or so, Clemson and Maryland will get at it.
2nd down, 12. Fenner lost 2 on that play. Fenner again. Got back the 2 he lost him, maybe a half yard to spare. That could be the final play of the game, depending upon when they set the ball for play. They have not yet set it, and so that means that could be the final play of the game. Well, wait a minute now. Now Virginia's going to call timeout, are they? Yeah.
Well, to talk again for a moment, Gary, about the game upcoming, which has greater consequence now because of the North Carolina victory here and the NC State victory. Interesting comment yesterday at practice from Dick Crum about Clemson and Maryland. He said, you know, when those two teams play, they really don't like each other, and he thinks that's going to be a factor in the game coming up here in just a few moments.
Our thanks to our great Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions crew, Jim Doozle and Quasis Starr, Jimmy Rayburn. Congratulations, Tennessee, Jimmy, Ed Wade, and Charles Boyd. Terry DeCarlos always does a great job on the technical side of things. Dave Johnson on the audio with Jim McCullough and the rest of the group. Up here in the booth, we thank John Mondry, our outstanding statistician, and Tony Britt, who points out the players to me from week to week. Pete Redpath and Lisa Langley have been with us most of the year as stage managers.
And what the production people have to do just a little bit extra. You think it's hard to play a football game in the cold and rain. It's no picnic to move this equipment around and handle it in the sloppy weather as well. So, folks, thanks very much for a good job again today.
21 seconds left here. They're sort of like offensive linemen. They never get the credit they deserve either. There's Dick Crum. Has to feel a little bit better about things with a victory here today over Virginia. That's Jonathan Hall, who, I don't know how he feels, to be quite honest about it. He started the first 5 ball games of the year. They were 4-0-1. Mark Maye came back, and Dick Crum will tell you he has 2 starting quarterbacks. But one of them has gone all the way today. Mark Maye now has it back to throw, throwing to the end zone, and throws a touchdown pass to Eric Streeter. Now, I must admit I didn't expect that, but I guess Dick Crum didn't expect the timeout. I don't know.
The flag in the end zone, too. I think had Virginia not called the timeout, they would have let the clock run down. Keep in mind, this is Eric Streeter's final ball game at Kenan Stadium.
All right, I'll take that, I guess.
They have penalized Streeter for spiking the football. Guess where they went, though? Inside the 20. A corner route. Great catch by Streeter. And the penalty was the celebration, so the touchdown counts.
Well, it is 26-7 with the extra point to come.
There's the penalty right there. You can't do that until you're in the pros, Eric.
That was almost unsportsmanlike conduct before he spiked it. 21 seconds left in the game. 26-7, Carolina. And Legally Armas will add the extra point.
Well, the Carolina fans,
they like it, yeah.
Now Bob Carpenter is going to explain to the Carolina coaching staff what took place. I guess.
Well, Bob Carpenter may be trying to find his way back to his appointed spot on the field. We're going to follow him and see where he's going. Oh, there we go. He wants to get the clock moving. We have not get the time taken off the clock. The clock never started on that play.
Well, it did. The clock was stopped. Was it stopped at 21 seconds?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
shades of the Wolfpack and Gamecocks a few weeks ago. That's another story, though. 21 seconds left here. The clock didn't start. You know, I guess if Virginia calls a timeout and wants to prolong play, North Carolina has every right to go and try and score the touchdown.
And the fact, as I said, it's Eric Streeter's final ball game. Perhaps they take 5 seconds off the clock. That's what Bob Carpenter's saying. And perhaps Carolina, following up on your thought, Gary, said, hey, if they're going to make us do it, we're going to try and give a senior one more moment of glory in front of the home folks. But the flip side of that is a play like that can come back to haunt you in future years.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because I've been holding that back for the last 2-3 minutes or so. Mark Maye will hold. Legally Armas will kick. Looking to add point number 27. At least they're not going for 2.
You also have to consider the fact, too, Gary, that for some of these Carolina kids, it's the first time they have beaten Virginia in their Carolina career.
That is right. The last 3 years, you're absolutely right. (27-7) after the kick by Learmas. We'll have time for the kickoff and 1 or 2 plays. Well, next week we've got Georgia Tech and Wake Forest with our regular season finale as you look at Dick Crum talking things over on the sideline. And he has, as you said, an important ball game next week against the Duke Blue Devils. What a balanced league we had this year. There just is not a doormat in the league this year.
We've had some great offensive efforts by all the teams in the league this year. There's some great skill on the offensive side of the football. And really, Gary, I think in terms of 1987, as all these coaches prep in the offseason, I think that the key next year is going to be the team that can become a little more dominant on defense has got to be considered the front runner for the 87 ACC title.
There's Derrick Fenner. What a great day he had. 328 yards. What does that work out to? That's about better than 7 yards a carry. In fact, about 8 yards a carry.
8 yards a carry.
You know, talking to a couple of assistant coaches in the last few weeks, a lot of people feel that Clemson is not only the team of the present, but might be the team of the future, as young as they are and as well as they've done this year.
They got to come up with somebody to take the place of Terrence Flagler and Kenny Flowers. They're losing a couple of very fine tailbacks after this 86 season.
But North Carolina will have almost everybody back. You know Virginia's going to be better. Duke, that freshman class, will have a year of experience, or at least redshirt in some cases. So
Wake Forest, if they can come up with a receiver to replace James Brim, will have a lot of skill with Mike Elkins. I'm looking forward again to seeing Mike Elkins next week for Wake.
Well, North Carolina was penalized, remember, for that celebration. And so they will kick off with 16 seconds to go. Kenny Miller sends it toward the sideline, and now he will kick it from the 15-yard line. What would happen if they got to the 5 and he kicked it out of bounds?
Keep going half the distance.
Half the distance? That's what I figured. I bet that hasn't happened.
No, I can't say
I bet no one's
I
ever even speculated on it before.
Well, somebody's probably thought about it. They just didn't say it out loud.
27-7, North Carolina on top of Virginia. Tar Heels led 10-0 after 1, and Virginia made a move in the third period to get within 13 and had the ball back, but an interception by Danny Buletich really was the straw that broke the camel's back today. And North Carolina's added a couple of scores, or at least a score since then. Low kick. Warren couldn't handle it cleanly. Here he comes. Warren with a stiff arm. Flag is down. They may say he grabs a face mask going out of bounds. We'll see. Victor Bullock on the tackle, and 9 seconds remain to be played.
Pushed out by Victor Bullock.
Was that holding? Yeah.
So with the victories by Carolina here and NC State is done with their conference schedule at 5-2. Carolina is 4-2, and Clemson, of course, getting ready to play against Maryland with that 5-1 mark. So if Clemson wins, they win the title with a 6-1 record. If they lose and Carolina wins next week against Duke, we could have the first ever tri-champions of the Atlantic Coast Conference.
Up to the line come the Cavaliers with 9 seconds left. Scott Secules can run at least one and maybe 2 plays. Going up top, but it's all Carolina blue back there. And interception number 2 for Dan Buletich. And that is your ball game. The final score, the North Carolina Tar Heels 27, the Virginia Cavaliers 7. Back with more after this to your local ACC stations.
Have you ever wondered why some VCRs cost $300 while others cost $1,000? Come see us at Ron Martin TV, and we'll explain why.
You owe it to yourself to see the complete line of RCA VCRs and cameras at Ron Martin TV and Appliance, with a choice that can fit any budget. RCA offers a wide range of functions which will respond to your video needs. Ron Martin also services everything he sells and offers convenient financing. Ron Martin TV and Appliance, 29 North at Ryle Road.
If you're ready for the pro-quality alternative to rakes and brooms, listen up. That's an easy starting echo you hear. That's an easy starting, easy handling echo you hear. And it'll make a pro out of you. I hear you. Take it from Dick Butkus.
Echo, first from the start.
Available at Lauterbach Implement Company, H.M. Gleason Company, and White Sales and Service.
Your final score on the Nissan Game of the Week, North Carolina 27, Virginia 7. Derrick Fenner's 328 yards turns out to be an ACC record for an individual rushing performance. Next week will be in Winston-Salem, Georgia Tech, taking on Wake Forest, Bill Curry's Yellow Jackets, and Al Groh's Demon Deacons. For Jack Corrigan and the entire Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions crew, so long.